Good evening, everybody. How are you? It's Phil Russert. I hope everybody on the East Coast is enjoying snow. It's our first big snowfall for the season. I was out shoveling, breaking my back all day, so I'm gonna relax and hang out with our guest tonight. He's a funny dude and a friend, and I have nothing but great things to say about him because he's listening. But other than that. Anyway, he's laughing backstage. So before we get to our usual fun romp of conversation, I'm going to do my usual shout outs. We have Comics Cast with Joe Tolliver and Gerald Motos. At 1 p.m. on Sundays, they have their show. They're a really awesome show with a lot of indie creators that you should go check out. We got Android's Amazing Podcast with James and Hunter, all the up-to-date news on comics and things like that. The Bit and Apple with Rafael Tavares Jr. and Leslie. They're awesome people. We've got It Came From the Radio with Mark Torres and his crew. These are all shows that you can check out online. They're all on Facebook if you just type in the names. Excuse me. Mad Titan Comics, everything you need for comic books. If you want key issues, slabs, dollar issues, etc., you've got Mad Titan _comics on Instagram, and Eric Gunderson, who is the owner and operator on Facebook. We have Art by Kike is the page on Instagram, and the show is Inking with Kike every Monday night at 8 p.m. Our guest tonight has been on that show before, so you could go check out Kike's archive of shows to see that episode if you'd like, or any other episode. So that's 8 p.m. Monday nights. We've got Let'sDoThis.com, Andy Lee, the awesome individual who does all my promo graphics. Thank you, Andy. And has done the Legendary Illustrations website, which is up. Thank you, Andy. You are awesome. He's a great human being. So go to his website, www.letsdothis.com, LESDUDIS.com. Everything pop culture, collectibles. He does convention reviews. He's also a foodie, so he has a foodie page, and he'll let you know all the great places to eat at all your local conventions. Having said that, we are now going to move forward to my guest tonight, who is a great guy. He's funny as hell. He's an excellent artist. I call him a friend. He is also one of the awesome artists that I represent at this point. So if you think his artwork sucks, then I don't rep him. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so we're going to have some fun tonight. Tonight we have Maudo Zapata, but because nobody pronounces it right, we just call him M. Zapata. So anyway, without further ado, we have Mr. M. Zapata. What's going on?
How's it going, Phil? How you been, man? It's even that a British accent.
He's such a... Yeah, I've heard your British accent. It sucks.
What? What? I watch enough Benny Hill that I know what British accents sound like, mate.
Andy's on. He said, "Good evening, gents. What's going on?" You give Maudo too much credit with the gents part, but you know. Oh, before we get into anything, I do want to remind you, I always forget to say this, please share this out live. Maudo has no friends. We want everybody to see him. He has no followers. He has no fans. It's really pathetic. So if you could share this out and get people to see his work.
There is a box of tissues on the side of me just for this moment that we did not plan.
Hey, John Howard's on. What's up, John? John is of course part of the wonderful bullpen at Legendary Illustrations. Another great artist you should go check out. But anyway, so please share this out live. Hey, Sal, what's going on? Sal's on here. He says hello to both of us.
Hey, Sal.
So thanks for all coming out. And I also, please share this out. Share it out in groups. Share it out live. I'm telling you, it's going to be funny tonight. So, because Maudo is a clown. But anyway, so
let's start off with terrorism.
Yeah. So tell us, who the hell are you?
Well, you just put me on the spot here. Jesus Christ. Oh, wait,
we're only live.
I was going to say language. How are we with language? It's got to be PG-13.
Who might you be, kind sir?
Because
who might you be, kind sir?
Words come out sometimes where I'm like, who's watching? because I don't want a little kid to be like, I learned the word cunt today. So,
Oh my God. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is
Just making
Facebook.
sure.
You want to get me? We're on Facebook and YouTube.
So
Do you want
we
me
got
out?
we got to go PG-13 ish. So
by the way, I love that 70s wallpaper.
why? Thank you. I put it up myself actually because
In the 70s.
In the 70s, I wish I got it from a Macy's. Macy's was closing, and then I passed by and I was like, I need something for the brick wall that I have in my studio. And bam, this big giant piece that looks so 70s that I was like, I gotta have it.
It really does. It looks like Archie Bunker blew up all over your freaking house.
It was the best $5 I've ever spent.
So if you didn't know, besides an artist, he's a home decor specialist. If you ever want Maudo to come to your house.
My next book on feng shui will be excellent.
Now, it's funny you bring up books. First of all, Maudo, tell us a little about yourself, and then we're going to get into all the things that you've done so far and what's going on with EU.
So we'll go back. We'll go way back. I was born in Argentina in 1978. Came to the States when I was 2.
It just dropped 3 views because you did that. 3 people because you did that.
It's like, wait a minute. That son of a bitch, he's a foreigner?
Jesus.
I bet you somebody's writing.
No, it's really funny. We literally 3 views just dropped out when you started that. That was hysterical.
You're like, get the out.
By the way, John Howard said that just swear and say it's Tourette's syndrome. and Andy said that it looks like you're laying down on a rug.
Well, as I lay down on this beautiful rug of mine.
Hey, Chris.
So, yeah, pretty much I'm a foreigner, came to the States when I was younger. Reagan let us in, and it's been gold from there. We just skip steps.
And I'm warning you, if you purposely go political just to mess with me, I can take you right out of this studio. I can knock you out. Don't think because we're friends, I won't knock your ass right out of here. All right? You know the videos I put up.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
You know the videos I put up that you didn't get to me in time. Maudo saw that post and he goes, "Oh crap." And he tried to call me, but I was already live and my phone's ringing and I didn't answer. And he's like, son of a beeswax. So he goes on, he sees the video, goes, "Oh crap, I just missed him by like 6 minutes."
9 minutes. By 9 minutes. I missed you by 9 minutes. I was like, because I was like, oh, let me send you a message. And I was like, he's not answering. And I go check and I'm like, fuck, too late. And in the middle of all that, that's when I told you, as my daughter was hanging out with me, and I was like, oh, I got to listen to this because it's a phone call, and I'm giving her a hug, and there was expletives coming out of your mouth as I'm hugging my daughter, which was one of the weirdest things because it had to do with a body part and a bag. And then my daughter's like, I love you, and I'm like, I love you too.
Larry Stroman told me that he didn't know you can use that first part of the word. It's another word for a rooster usually used, and it ends with doodle-doo. I was told that he didn't know you could use that word in so many different ways.
Dude, it was like literally like it was the use of a Rubik's Cube for all profanity in just minutes and repeated over again, but used correctly in each sentence and phrase. I was kind of part of me was like, oh man. The other part of me was like, I'm pretty proud of him. I'm like, you're doing a good job saying all of it.
It was like when my at the time 2-year-old used the F-bomb, but I was proud of her for using it in the right way.
Yeah, but if they're using it the right way, honestly, that's the way. You got to praise them. You got to praise them. It's the only way.
Oh, I knew it was going to be like this. But yeah, the image of Phil's Hulk's face is burned into my memories. It's funny because when you put up a post of a video, the video shows a still of one moment of your facial expression.
Oh, no.
And I'm freaking snarling. I'm like, it was hysterical.
No, so anyway. Nobody photoshopped green on you? That would have been the first thing I would have done.
Chris sent me a Hulk meme. But anyway, enough about me. We keep doing this and then we just go somewhere else. This is going
I
to be one
know.
of those
I
shows. I didn't even
know.
bother sending you questions because I knew it was just going to be a
No.
cluster F,
Well, no. Well, it's one of those things that, out of the question you asked me, you asked, do I spit or do I swallow? And what I said was,
What the hell are you doing?
with mouthwash, you never swallow because it tastes awful. That's why you always spit the mouthwash off. What are you thinking? This is what the dirty mind is getting you.
Yeah, this is gonna be good for business.
Man.
This is gonna be good for business. All right, so you're a local artist here in Long Island. I won't give your address.
Yes, yes.
You have quite a few projects going on. You're a busy man. First of all, you're a family man. You have a beautiful, lovely family. You have your day job, but you are. I mean, you are so disciplined. I'm really impressed with that. I mean, we're doing an 8 o'clock show because he's like bedtime by 9:30, and then he's up at 4:30 in the morning to do work before going to his day job. And I'm really impressed. And I'm still up at 4:30 in the morning, so I usually say hello to you if you're just getting up.
Well, technically, you see me at 4 is because that's when I normally jump on. I'm usually up at 3:30.
Oh boy.
That's what 2:30 is my earliest I can start, and then I usually during the week 3 o'clock is my norm because it's just sometimes I'm just beat.
Yeah, he's just really dedicated. I give you credit, man. I mean, you're a great father and husband, and you work your day job diligently, but you're really putting in the time it takes to draw. Mostly because you suck, so you have to really practice. But
stick figures have to progress.
Man, I was out in the cold all day. Now I'm coughing. I'm sorry, everybody.
Well, no, my logic is that, like, I say within the last 3 years, I started becoming more serious about comic art. I've been drawing all my life, and it's one of those things I can't remember a time in my life when I didn't draw. I've always drawn. I used to be decades ago, and I mean that. I used to be a front man for a band, and I was also doing the flyers for the band as well. I was also doing. I did a cover for the band. I was doing another one, and then I was asked to do a couple other things. Whoops.
My computer did something. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, did you find something online?
It was the what was that? What's that? That new trend going on, like the something all something or whatever, like the joking around, like the sex page. What the hell is it called?
You are so alone on this.
If Dell was on, he would know what the hell I was talking about. But anyway, only us or some whatever the hell it is. But anyway, go ahead. Don't mind me.
Pornhub?
Putting crack pipe down. Putting crack pipe down now. So go ahead.
So pretty much I started becoming more serious about this within the last 3 years.
OnlyFans, thank you. Chris knew what I was talking about. OnlyFans,
that's what it is.
I don't know if that scares me that Chris knew what I was talking about, but either way, thank you.
So what we're getting at, Phil has an OnlyFans page. So once you get there, it is some of the funniest things you'll see.
I get paid just to put things back on. But anyway.
It's your OnlyFans page.
So yeah, OnlyFans. I have so many. So all right, finish what you were saying because I keep cutting you off.
I don't remember my train of thought. What the hell was I talking about?
That's because you get up too damn early.
3 years ago. Yeah, so I started becoming more serious about this within the last 3 years, because it just kicked in my mind. I've been working on a story within the last, and I kid you not, for about 20 years now. It's a horror comic that I've been just doing bits and parts all over the place. And then I just kept on pushing back. And then it wasn't until around 3 years ago that I started becoming more serious about this. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I have such a passion for this and I'm drawing all the time. Why not just really just make something out of it? You're into comics. I've been collecting comics since I was a little kid, and unfortunately and fortunately, this is where the information comes in, where some people can tell me artist names and they will stick with me. And then sometimes I will not remember for the life of me who it is. I think it'd be standing in front of me, but thank God for Facebook. Because I just do not have, for whatever reason, names are the worst for me. But it's just one of those things.
Yeah, you've been calling me George for years. You only just started calling me Phil.
It's either that or Richard. So
Yeah.
one of the two.
Oh yeah, we know the nickname. Manu, how you doing, man? He says, "Hope
Hey,
you were
brother.
fine, guys." He's not very fine, but we'll go with that.
Thank you.
But thanks for coming on, Manu.
Thank you,
Uh,
brother.
so you are inspiring because you have a lot of different things going on in your wheelhouse. I mean, you're not, you're
Yeah.
working on, sequential work for yourself, and you've done some prints and some covers, which we're going to show.
Yeah.
But you've also done a children's book,
Hmm.
which I want you to tell us about, and then we'll go into the other books that you've done as well. So tell us about your children's book, and I'm going to pull it up while you're talking.
Yeah. Well, so when everything started happening with all this COVID, we'll take a couple of steps back. We were doing shows last year, and at the beginning of this year, I did a show, and then COVID happened. And as everybody else is, has gone through, this has been ridiculously difficult for everybody, because it's been a mixture of people losing their jobs,
Right,
incomes, loss of family, this and that, and I fall in that category. And it's one of those things I haven't posted anything like there for whatever reason. I have my funny bone part about things. I love kidding around and just BSing about things and then just showing things that I like. But when it comes to personal, I don't share too much. And I think it's just because I like that being so separate from like
right,
what I do, but the children's book came about because of what was going with COVID. And then within the meantime of that, my dear aunt Elsa, she got it, and unfortunately, she passed away from it alone in the
I'm
hospital.
sorry.
Thank you. And it sucked. I'm saying it with a smile, because I have to. Because if I think about it,
Right,
it'll. But it was just one of those things that it was a big wake up call in so many ways because in the grand scheme of things, this was in the beginning of it. Nobody knew what this thing was. Everybody was extremely cautious and nervous. Of nobody knew how people were contracting this, and so when everything was said and done, the funeral that we had, there wasn't any. It was just pretty much going to a
right,
gravesite, having six guys come out in hazmat suits with a casket wrapped in what you normally wrap in boats for the season in that plastic, and
right.
everything was just so surreal, and that's how we said goodbye to her. Nobody could hug each other. Nobody could say, well, everybody could say everything they could, but nobody could hug each other because nobody knew again how people were contracting this. And it was just one of the crappiest funerals are crappy just to begin with, and
Sure.
everybody knows that. But when you can't say, you can't say goodbye to the person, obviously that's the worst. It's worse when you can't even celebrate their life as you normally do. Everybody goes either to somebody's house or a bar and just has a couple of drinks, tears and drinks, and just talks about and reminisces. We couldn't even do that. It was just everybody got in their car and had to go because nobody knew what was going on. So once that was going on, um, all this craziness was happening. I forgot to turn to my daughter because she was out of school because they closed school. And I turned to my daughter and I asked her, I was like, so what do you think of everything that's going on?
And how
You
old is
know,
your daughter?
she's about to be 9. So this was about when this started. She was about 8 and 2 months at that time, so
Right.
almost close to 8 and a half. And then I turned to her just out of the blue. I was like, what do you think about everything that's going on with, schools and this pandemic? I didn't say pandemic, obviously. And she just started bawling. She just started crying. And she was like, I'm afraid for grandma and grandpa. I don't know when I'm going to see my friends. It was one of the crummiest feelings of a father ever because I felt so helpless. I felt like such a helpless son of a bitch, because I was like, I need to be there for my daughter, and I can't be there as I'm there. I'm giving her a hug,
Right.
telling her all the words that I could just to make her feel better, but I couldn't figure out, like, how can I comfort somebody? How can I comfort her? And I had no idea. And within like maybe a couple of hours, I just started thinking about it. I was like, what if I write a book? Let me look into writing a book. Like I love every single night. And it's not like I just decided to, like, hey, you decided to tell a story every night since my daughter's been born, almost every night. I tell a story to my daughters because I have another one. And it's just, they're just
She's a
random things.
spitfire.
You know, yeah, and she is. She's a spitfire too. But every single night, tell me a story, and I could just come up with, once upon a time there's a penguin, and he lived in the jungle, and what was he doing in and I could go on and on. So I was like, let me just use that. I've been a fan of all types of movies growing up, and I love storytelling. I love hearing stories, and it just made sense to me to do that. And so I started working on like the story, and then within like a day and a half or 2 days, I kind of had a rough print in my head of what I wanted to do. And then I just started sketching it because at the time I was temporarily unemployed because of COVID. And
Right.
within that time, I was able to write, illustrate, and get a book out within like, I think 3 weeks. And it was one of those things that I was proud of because at the end of it, I was like, look, here's something for all the little kids. The book, as you're seeing right now, it's Our New Different World. And there wasn't, I made sure that the book does not have the word COVID or anything of that matter in it, because I'm like, you know what? I don't want it to, it is a staple in time of what's going on. But at the
It's
same,
not preachy. I read it. I own it. I
yeah,
bought it. It's not preachy at all. It has nothing to do with the politics and the stuff you read. It
yeah,
basically is just a little kid's perspective of all the changes that they've had to endure, and how a kid looks at things, which I think is great because as adults we tend to eschew things, and we
yeah,
forget the innocence of children, how simplistic things are in their mind.
yeah,
So
yeah.
obviously it's nicely illustrated. It's a wonderful children's book illustration wise, and
Thank you.
I think it comes from a perspective of an innocent child's frame of mind, like what is all this, and how
Yeah.
parents are shielding them from the seriousness of it, but at the same time keeping them safe and aware.
So, yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah.
it's
No.
sold on Amazon, right?
Yes, yes, it's on Amazon. Yeah, because what I wound up doing is because I was trying to figure out how to make this happen, and I was like, can I get a publisher? And then I looked into that. And I was like, that just seems like a rabbit hole in itself.
It's
So I was like, I have
difficult.
to. Yeah, and well, my first thought was like, I am, and I think this is just the mentality that I've had for quite a long time is I can't depend on anybody else, and I have to do it myself. And even though as selfish as it can be, I have this mentality, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's the biggest burden in my head because I feel like I have to do everything, and it's
I relate
sometimes
to that.
overwhelming.
I
Yeah,
relate to that.
absolutely,
I relate to that.
absolutely. I know
You
you
wear a
do.
lot of hats, and
Yeah,
and it's tough. It's really tough. Well, at the end of the day, because you're so dedicated to what your passion is,
yeah,
it wouldn't be fair to expect somebody else to be as passionate about it and do
exactly.
it for you. So it's nothing bad about anybody else per se. It's just it's my passion. So why would I expect them to put into it what I would?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's what it is. And it's the greatest thing and the worst thing about me is having that because when I did the book, I had to figure out how to do a completely different drawing style than I normally do, which that was
Right,
another kick in the pants for me because I was like, I can't draw comic book-ish. I'm like, this is supposed to be for a kid, and it's
right.
supposed to be, kind of a day in the life in a sense of what kids can be doing to kind of keep each other safe and so on and so forth. I try to make everything as joyful because my first thought is when they were talking about masks and all that bit, I, I don't know one person who enjoys wearing them because
Right.
they are like you can't breathe right, and I get it, but like for a kid, how do you explain it to a kid other than saying, hey, you know what, it's like being a ninja? And that was like my throat. I was
That's
like, I
what
was
my
trying.
wife had to tell me.
Yeah, well, but pretty yeah, well,
So I go around like
well,
sneaking
yeah.
around like I'm gonna sneak up and attack somebody. You know, I mean I'm a
But
fat ninja, but hey,
hey, but you're still a ninja.
I'm a sneaky man. I can. You don't even hear me
Uh,
coming. I'm coming. Yeah,
no,
sure I
but it was,
can.
but that was,
I
this
have
is
her.
but this is where one of those things that really my thought was like, if I could tell a story, how could I tell it geared towards a kid who is my daughter's age and a little bit older or younger, and just not to make this horrible thing that's happening in this world right now, which has to be the worst thing at this moment, to kind of give some
You
kind
haven't
of
sat in the
light
car
to it.
with me after I ate Wendy's. If
Well,
you want
it's
to know what the
pretty.
worst thing with
That
the
is
windows
another.
up.
That is another pandemic in itself.
Yeah, sorry, you don't know the worst. Ask my family.
Oh man, but it's one of those things that it's that mentality of kind of making sure to kind of make it fun, even though it's not fun at all, but
Well,
for a little
look,
kid, he doesn't know people are dying.
right. Well, one of the things I do like about you is you understand the power of levity,
Yeah.
and you use it well. Anytime I'm ready to flip off, you'll throw something funny up there, and I'll be like, "Stop making me laugh! I want to be angry." But so and I did think the perspective in the book was well written. I
Thank
think the
you.
art style, like you said, you changed up, was very suitable for a children's book. I highly recommend the book. Like I said, I have it. We read it, and the kids read it, and they enjoyed it. My
Thank you.
8 and 6-year-old, geez. So go to Amazon. Andy said if you start typing a new diff into Google, it's the first recommended autocomplete. So that's really good because
Oh, awesome.
you've sold quite a few. I mean, it's been
Yeah,
successful.
it has. My goal was, and I'm being realistic too, because it wasn't like I'm gonna be selling. Like there was none of that. My
You're always
thought
good
was
with
like,
that.
my thought was like, I can't wait till I get that one. Sorry, 3 books at my house. That was my biggest thing, because one would go to my daughter, my oldest, Mina. The other one would go to Maisie, which is my youngest, and the other one would be my keepsake for the future. That was
Right.
it. And then I was like, you know what? If I sell 10, I'm I will be over the moon. I will be over the
We
moon.
go McDonald. We go McDonald.
It literally was around that mentality. I'm like, girls, we're gonna celebrate with bagels, but like bagels, but don't get cream cheese. Just get butter. It was just it's one of those things that's all my expectation was, and it surpassed it more than I thought. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
and I'm happy about that, because I also could, now on my tombstone, I can have that. Hey, this guy also he was able to do so many things, even be like the first publisher in his own family, and it makes me proud because my parents are still alive and they get to see that. And they were almost in partial tears when they saw the book, because they're like, oh my God,
Oh,
you wrote a book. And I was like, it made me feel so great. And also it made me think comedy wise. I'm like, that would be the worst if they didn't know that the book was crap. But it wasn't. So that's what I'm very happy about, but there were still parents who were going to be happy for their kid, for their 41-year-old kid. So it was a big deal. It was a big deal because
but it is.
my goal was getting it to my daughter's eyes, and that
And
was it.
self-publishing is very difficult. It's
Yes.
not easy. I mean, because you don't have a distribution deal, you don't
Nope.
have that kind of marketing. You're doing it
Yeah.
yourself.
Yep.
And it's just one of the many hats that you wear as well. I think it's one of the reasons why you and I get along. We wear our hats. I mean, me
Yeah.
figuratively, you obviously literally, but still. Normally, you have your cowboy hat, your clown hat,
Yeah.
your goth
Serious
hat,
hat.
your
Yeah.
your
No,
S and M
that's
hat,
true. That's so true. That's
and the red
Tuesdays.
ball.
That's Wednesdays.
Well, today
It's
is
just
Thursday, so we don't want to
today's
know what's
Thursday.
today.
Guess what
Today's
I'm
your
not
Paulie
wearing?
hat, your cab
Today's my
driver hat.
no pants hat.
Um. Anyway, so we go from there. Again, you have a lot of projects, and you decide, let's take a left turn. Left turn. There you go. To a coloring book.
Yes. I know.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, hey, whatever, cool. I mean, another hat. Let's do it. So
Yeah.
this coloring book is Halloween themed. It came out. It's for kids. Oh, let's hang on. I pulled up the wrong one. Let's do this one. I own this as well for my kids, and they really like them. Again, art style is basically for children. You purposely tailor it to children. Obviously, it's monster themed, but obviously in a kid's way, which is great. And the
Mhm.
idea is monsters and milkshakes. Every one of them has a milkshake. So
Mhm.
tell us about the process of this, and that's also on Amazon, which I think we
Yes, that
gave
is
you
also.
links.
Yes, yeah. Well, the when I drew this, I had a couple of rough sketches of these monsters that I did. I think, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 8 years ago. It's had about 10 years, and they were sitting in a book, and I kept on thinking, I want to do something with them. I want to do something with them. I want to figure out what I could do, but I had no clue what to do. And then once I finished this, my first children's book, I was like, you know what? Let me look into a coloring book because I've never done that. So I could check that off on the bucket list of saying I was able to do a coloring book. And then I looked into it and I was like, all right, I figured out all the steps, how to reuse backgrounds to make things repetitive, but also different characters doing different things. And I grew up, me and my brothers grew up watching horror movies. Like, I am a horror movie fanatic of back in the day. The new ones I haven't got a chance to watch too much of, but I grew up with Rick Baker, Monster Maker. He is like the all in all,
Right.
the greatest special effects, right with Stan Winston, Botine. Like, I could go on. I'm a huge fan of like Carpenter flicks. I grew up watching every Carpenter flick.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like a lot of these monsters that are in this book, the book is, it's for kids, but at the same time, if an adult opens it, they'll be like, okay, I see where this is going, because I'm a fan of old, what is that? The Universal monsters. So I just
Right.
blended in all that stuff, and I was like, well, what can I have them do? And I'm like, well, I'm a fan of milkshakes. I didn't have my first milkshake, and I kid you not, I didn't have it until I was maybe, when did she introduce me to it?
I'm
I
glad you
think when
weren't a
I was
fan of butt plugs because that would have been a totally different coloring book.
Well, guess what I'm working on now? Monsters. It's called Monster Butt Plugs. There is no and.
Yeah.
Monster butt plugs. We're like, what? In the shape of monsters.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things that I think I just wanted to get. I wanted to get it out of my head because like I had these drawings sitting for a while. It was like 10 of them only, and I was like, let me just use them. Let me see. My mentality is, if I don't know how to do something, I'm gonna do everything in my power, and I'm gonna figure it out. Like, and that's it. There is no like if I. I'm like, no. I'm gonna figure it out, and if it's gonna take me a minute, I don't care how long it takes. And that's where the whole waking up so early in the morning comes in, because I wake up around 2:30, 3 o'clock every day, and that's including the weekends. And the weekends I don't have to wake up, but
Right.
I get 4 or 5 hours of time to go into the studio, and I get some time to get my ideas going, to get finishing up projects and this and that. And that's my constant mentality. I'm like, I keep on hearing people, who I know, they're like, oh, I played this game and that game. I'm like, I would love to play a nonsensical, brainless game. But I feel like if I'm doing that, I'm cheating myself and I'm cheating
Right.
my family,
Yep.
which is a weird thing, because like, it's joy. And I'm like, I know, but you know what? I have an arcade machine in my studio, that the reason I have it is because the games are a total of maybe 15 to 20 minutes long. Like, that's all I need.
Right.
That's all I can. I
Waka, waka,
I
waka,
can.
waka, 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 waka,
That's
waka.
exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. Because I'm like, you know what? This is it. This is great. I can't do any more than that, because I feel like my time is limited, and it's this mentality is that I have to eat. What do they say? It's a live your day, your life each day, like if it's your last. And I literally, somehow, within the last three or four years, it has been embedded in my head, because I purposefully made it my goal to accomplish all this stuff. And even more so now with the pandemic happened, I didn't expect at the end of the year that I would have completed 4 books,
But see, that
and
that
then
that drive and that willingness to bleed is what I'm always talking about, and
yeah,
those are the roadmaps to success that I personally like. I mean, no disrespect to anyone that hears this, and I'm not speaking of anyone specifically, but a lot of people, they think that they are putting in the maximum effort, but they're not.
you're not. They're not.
Because if you're comfortable, you're
Then you're
not.
not. Yeah, and
You
that's the
have
truth.
to be uncomfortable. You have to make yourself uncomfortable. Like, we can all see I still suck at tech, but whatever. I'm not going to stop. I just jumped into the show. You can't be comfortable. When you're
Yeah,
comfortable, you're complacent. When you're complacent, you are not driven. I'm sorry.
yeah. Yeah, no, but it is the truth, because I don't know. Sometimes I hear that it's funny. People are like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then I tell them what I do, and then I get but I'm just lazy. I'm like, so don't
Right.
bitch. Don't bitch,
Right.
because if you're automatically leaning back on something, because trust me, I don't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't
You
want to
need,
wake up at like
trust me, lots of it.
yes, yes, yes. Like I absolutely do. And the funny thing is, the minute I get more than 6 hours of sleep, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. My
Yeah.
back hurts, or I'm
And your head's
groggy.
mush.
Yeah, but it really is. It really,
Yeah.
really is. And it's one of these things that, you know, I don't know how to stop unless I leave the state. And that's what we had to do a couple of months ago. Well, yeah, about 2 months ago, we had to take a family vacation. And my rule was I am not doing any work for the next 4 days. And I did my best to enjoy it. But yet again, I would still wake up early, but not how I normally would. But that was the only way I could stop. But even like right now, like I talked to, talking to my wife the other day, and she knows it, is the only time around the year that I actually will sleep in is on Christmas Eve, because
Right.
I can't be the one that the girls see doing anything early, because then they'll be like, wait a minute, how were those
Right.
presents? Those presents came from where? So it's one of my things that's when I give myself some leeway time. But I feel like I need to. It's not like I'm trying to catch up. I just have so many projects that are in my head that I'm like, what? So I can't wait for anybody. I have to do it myself. I have to push this button. I have to go the limit. And if I don't, who else is going to? Because I can't depend on anybody
Right.
else. It's all on me.
And again, it's like we said, not only can you can't depend on everybody else, because when you have that level of drive, it brings you into an upper echelon. I mean, this is the truth. And even if you met somebody who had that kind of drive, they still don't have your vision. It's your
Yeah.
passion, it's your project. So it is a difficult thing, and it is a path that you often have to walk alone.
Oh,
That I understand, but at the same time, sometimes it's overwhelming, and you could use the help, but how are you going to get that help? So I get it. By the
yeah.
way, Sean Carlson, who was my guest on Tuesday, another amazing artist, excuse me, he came on here. Apparently, at the time, we discussed butt plugs. So it's like, Jesus, Phil, I thought this was a promotion for a children's book. Well,
I'm
no, we
seeing
were
a
promoting
theme
a
here.
different book at that point. That was a different book at that point.
Oh
Um,
man.
so you went with the Halloween theme, and then you're rushing this out, which I believe you said you're getting copies this weekend, right? And
Yeah.
this is out.
I,
So now
I
we have the Christmas edition.
I finished that at the end of November, and it was out. I think ready to out for sale. I think I think it was November 28th or something like that. But when you're on Amazon and you're the author and you order your books, for whatever reason they take forever,
Yeah,
because the price is not the normal for everybody else, because they're my copies, so like I've been waiting for them, but I'm like, they'll get here when they get here. But people have been buying them, so I appreciate. Thank you very much, everyone, for who's been picking this book up. And again, this is one of those things that I was like, you know what? I've never done a Christmas coloring book. It's this. Let me get it out of the way. Let me get it out of the way. And one of the things that I made sure in there, it has a little bit of an activity here and there, but I grew up with Van Halen. Van Halen was one of my huge influences with music. I listen to everything. I have Public Enemy to Run DMC. Christmas in Hollis is one of my favorite Christmas songs. I listen to everything. Yes, it's just it is. I grew up with such a mix of music, and I used to be in a metal band, so it's just I have a lot of variety in my head. But Van Halen, growing up, hearing Hot for Teacher, it was one of my biggest memories as a kid, but a fond memory. And then when I heard Eddie Van Halen died, it broke my heart. And then there was a video that somebody made of Eddie Van Halen filming his kid during certain moments, or somebody like filming his kid during certain moments as him growing up, and almost every single moment saying, I love you, I love you. And it was just one of those, it broke my heart even more, because Wolfgang is, he's 20 something years old, but it was just
right.
a heartbreaking thing. And I was like, I want to do something. I want to do something. So at the end of the book, I was like, the only thing that I can do in celebration of Van Halen without getting sued, I was like, let me make something. And at the end of it, I made a monster dedication to Eddie Van Halen called Yeti Van Halen, which is a Yeti playing a guitar. That is exactly like Eddie Van Halen, but he's, instead of having a cigarette at the end of the guitar, it's a milkshake, and that was my dedication to him, because like, I have no other way I can do this, because I'm not going to do a sequential work for for Eddie Van Halen, so it was just one of those. There's a little bit of extra feeling for the book because Van Halen was an influence growing up, as many artists are to me nowadays. But that was my little special tribute. So at the end of the book, if you're a fan of Van Halen, you'll appreciate the last couple of pages.
Yeah, at the end of the Monster Milkshakes for Halloween, you had a what you would probably presume is Richard Nixon. But that's enough about that, because we're not going down that road. But anyway, so so you do a lot of little nods like that, which I think are cool.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm actually going to pop up the Amazon pages in a second once I figure out how to frig to do that.
Yes.
But I do appreciate, and then we're going to go into the next project that you had put out, because you're just a machine, my friend. You are a damn machine.
That's all I know.
So, all right. So right here we have, and I'm going to block us out so people can see. This is the Amazon page. Look, the paperback's $7.95. And how many pages is this?
For the Christmas one, I think it's 28 or something like that.
So you got 28 pages of coloring, and the good thing is it's not just the character. You can color the whole page, the backgrounds and everything. It's $8, and my kids loved it. I mean, the art is cool to look at. By the way, I'm just going to point this out. Before we get, I'm going to go back in time. So I had my show last October, and this is when I met Maudo. I never met him. I didn't talk to him. I didn't know him worth a damn. And he sends me this as his pick. Now, what a pissy face that is. You look pissed off, and I'm like, and then you send it to me with saying, excuse me, I'm so sorry. You send it to me saying, please put M. Zapata, not my name. And that's because usually people pronounce it wrong. And I'm like, wow, this dude's intense. And then I meet you, and you're the biggest freaking clown. And I'm like, what the hell happened? What did I miss here with this bio?
2 weeks, man.
Yeah, really. I'm like, look at this face, this sourpuss face. And this dude is the biggest clown, and you cannot offend Maudo. I mean, he's one of those guys that you can just laugh and joke and have a good time, and you can't offend him. Like when I remind him how foolish he is about certain things, he just laughs, And we're not going to get into those things, are we, Maudo? Anyway.
so I just made somebody's voice crack.
I'm so sorry about my cough, everybody. It's asthma related. I was out in the cold shoveling for hours. So this is a 28-page coloring book. It's really cool. You have nice illustrations. Now, you did this all digitally?
Yes, I did it all digitally because I got an iPad Pro, I think about 2 months ago, because I was like, my biggest issue that I was having, because I use Photoshop for all the prints that I've done of other characters that I've done, like Spider-Man. I did my version of Batwoman 66 and a bunch of other things.
You're going to show us.
And any single time that I would draw them, I would either ink them digitally or on paper and transfer them over because blue doesn't reproduce. And then the problem that I would have was I would have to wait till the weekend to get to that desktop to finish the work, and it would take forever for me to finish something. So I told the wife, I was like, look, listen, the book sold really well. My first book sold really well, and I could create more books because I have more stories I want to tell, but I also want to do sequential work, and I want to keep back at it. So it's just one of those things that I figured out. Well, if the sales of the books can cover the iPad, then I have my in of getting more work done. And that's what it is. It's another tool that I use, and I bring it with me to work every day. I hide it because nobody sees it, but I bring it. But by the time
they know.
No, they do. Thank goodness for the mask.
So sorry, everybody. By the way, Andy said you look like Inspector Clouseau from the Pink Panther. That is great.
Also, another huge fan of that. watch that as a family. We watch that as a family.
Yeah, I have to say,
But
you really have a beautiful family, and your
thank
daughters
you.
are identical in personality to mine. I mean,
Yes, they
it's
are.
really uncanny. Both of
Yes.
our youngest are like little pit bulls. They're adorably hysterical. They're tough little
Yes.
girls. They take no
Yes.
crapola. They
Yes.
are a riot. I can't wait
Yeah, they
for
are.
them to be together. I think the two of them together might mastermind how to take over the world
They will.
or the prison. But and then your oldest is thoughtful and sweet and
Just like your
quieter
daughter.
and more
Yeah,
reserved. Yeah, and I
absolutely.
just it's
Absolutely.
crazy how identical they are. I mean, they really
Yeah.
are. It's funny.
Yeah.
And your wife is a lovely human being. She's really cool too.
As
I
yours is
mean,
too, man.
she's all right. No, I was kidding. My wife is the best. She's
You,
probably watching
you just
right
start.
now, going, "I'm gonna kick
You
your."
hear you're gonna hear feet stomping into the room and a big giant newspaper just whack you on the
She's
side.
probably just rolling her eyes at me right now. If I had $1 for every time my wife rolled her eyes at me and just walked away, I'd be retired, and I'd have the capital for like 50 businesses. So
Well, I'm happy you
my
went
wife
that
is.
route. Like,
I married up. Everybody who sees the pictures, everybody who meets her, they all know I married up. So
or did she marry up? Huh?
no,
Huh?
she married down.
Huh?
She settled. She settled. She married down. She might have
Oh,
thought she was marrying
awesome.
up, and then she found out real quick. But it was too late because I got her.
Pregnant! You're pregnant. Joke's on you.
Yeah. Sorry, you're knocked up.
Sorry, knocked up. Oh man.
So I want to let everybody know that on Amazon you can order his books, but please do me a favor. Order the books. They're worth the money. They're definitely worth it. Also, leave a positive review. If you don't like the book, you don't need to leave a negative review and knock somebody's career. Just leave a positive review, okay? I mean, if you want to review his personality and leave something negative, that's one thing. But if you want to review the books, please give him positive reviews. If you don't like it, then just go away. Please don't hurt somebody's career. I mean, it's all subjective, but the books
Yeah.
are really good. They're really good. The coloring books are a lot of fun too, and and everything. Uh, Richard said, "It's cold outside. I'm looking at the doghouse." We don't have a dog anymore. I'm safe. Oh, maybe I'm not because then we don't have a house to send me to. But so seriously, if you like the book, please leave a positive review as well. I really recommend them. My daughters enjoy the coloring books. I didn't get the Christmas edition yet, of course, because like he said, they're not really out. But we're gonna order those, and I think they're awesome. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but Maudo is such a good guy too. We all know I posted about some people that are not doing well, for Christmas. We would send them care packages. Maudo has kindly decided to donate the coloring books to a family with some children that reached out to me. They don't have any, things are tough for them right now, as they are for many. So Maudo is kindly donating several coloring books, two coloring books to the children. So thank you for that.
No, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
No, you're a good guy. We joke, we bust each other's chops, but you're a good guy,
Yeah.
and I think you're a talented
Thank you.
artist. And I do want to get into your art as well.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind, we'll get into our business relationship at this point
Yeah.
too. So,
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely.
so
Well,
again,
speaking of, actually, hold on. This relates to the story of the fourth book that I finished out.
I'm gonna get into that too. I was just
Oh,
about to get into that. Man, I'm the host. Okay, all right. I know what's going on. Okay,
I thought we were going to
all right.
transition. I was like,
No, no, no.
transition.
But it is a transition because this book is not children related. It's related
Yes.
to the industry.
Yes.
See, that's
Yes, it
how I was
is.
going into there. Let me do
Son
my
of a
job,
bitch.
okay? Let me do my job, okay? Let me do my job. I've been doing it a little while, okay? Man, these
This
freaking
has been the
people.
longest 2 weeks ever.
All right, now, as I say, let me do my job.
Folks,
I
you don't
lost
know
the
this has
file.
been the most longest 2 weeks.
All right, here we go. So, transitioning from all the children-themed things you do, I just want everybody to know, obviously, talent-wise, you're versatile. It's not just
Yes.
children's art you can do. Why is this picture not coming up? It's taken forever. you have a new project. Here it is. Um, and it is giving me trouble. So let's hang on. There we go.
I'll make the sound effect.
The Little Black Book of
Bam!
Thumbnails. And we're not going to get into any double entendres here. So.
It needs to be the butt plug of black books or something.
Yeah.
The Little Black Book of butt plugs. Be like, Jesus, you and these butt plugs, man.
I didn't bring it up. I mean, you and the gerbil and the tube, that's your business. But
hey, Richard Gere is a national treasure.
Oh man, you remember that? That was all over the news.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, how can you not? Then the Rod Stewart one. How many gallons?
There was one more, and there was the Bon Jovi one. Oh, there was a lot of funny.
Yeah, there was.
So anyway, we digress. So yes, tell me about the Little Black Book of Thumbnails, an artist's tool for laying out comic book and story illustrations. Not only will you tell me about the book, but damn it, you will tell me the inspiration behind making it.
The inspiration behind it was it's something I always wanted growing up. Since I was drawing, I've drawn on all types of paper. And once I started becoming more of a storyteller, again, 10 years ago, I kept on just drawing on lined paper. It was just lined paper here, white paper there. It was just a constant, whatever I can find, I need to put it down. And then I'll put it in this little book that I have. But there was never a book to put the full picture that I have in my head sequentially in a story. So I wound up making this book that opening it up is actually like pretty much small thumbnails of certain pages that I know a lot of artists growing up that are popular that would actually use this technique of just drawing really small. And then sometimes it would blow it up or go in medium size and then blowing it up.
Now, and again, I'm going to stop you for 1 second. For those who may not know what a thumbnail is, I mean, we do, but maybe there's people that are aspiring artists and they don't know some of the things. Just explain what a thumbnail is first, or what it's used for.
Actually, here, open it up a little bit, because I have the book in front of me here, so I could show you what the page is. So then maybe it can be. Let me see if we can. Right.
Hang on. Let me get. Why is this? All right. There we go. And
there we go. On the left, there we go. So if you look real close, these are small little boxes. And I sometimes draw in that format. I draw in a small little box, and I created this book with thinking it as if you were looking at a comic book. First page is always on your right. If you open a comic book, your first page is on your right. Your last page of your comic book is always on your left. And that's just the way the story is, depending on the advertisement and so forth. But I created it. So then one thing that out of all the study that I've done in comics and in figuring out information is when you're telling a story, the thing that you always want to keep in mind is that it's got to be a page turner. You have to have a page turner. If you are having your exciting moment happening at one point on one page to your left, and then your right page is kind of spoiling it when it should be turning the page to see what next exciting thing is happening.
Right.
It kind of killed your load in so many ways. It's just kind of, it really just
you're really just trying to throwing it out there and hoping I grab, aren't you? Just hoping I grab.
So PC for you.
It's just me choking. I'm so sorry, everybody, for coughing.
It's just one of those things that I wound up doing. That I did one that had small thumbnails. Then I did. Let me go this way. Then a bigger size, like a medium size, up, just for anybody who wanted to go further up. And then the next 48 pages are your average size of page layout for 11 by 17, but shrunk down, obviously, for the use of setting up. And I put in bleed lines and so on, and that's all it is. It's a book that you could put all your stories in, and you can write your title in of whatever the story is, and then you could have it set up for how many pages, if it's a graphic novel or whatnot. But the way I see it is, when I got this, I got myself 5 extra copies because I'm like, I'm going to use this. This is an ideal tool that I've never seen before. And not that I'm like, there may be some other dude created the same thing and has a different version, but I haven't seen it yet. So to me, This was a huge thing, because I'm like, this is what I need. A lot of people work digitally. nothing against it because I work digitally. But when I have a story in my head and I'm in a corner somewhere, I need to sit down
Or
and
how
I
about
need
this?
to.
You're out on a park bench and you're studying positions and anatomy. You take out your little
Yeah,
black book and you can do a thumbnail of a person in a specific position, and that's a
yeah,
reference for any time you have to draw that in a sequential panel.
yeah, yes,
Not just a
100%.
reference, or you could just take that, that thumbnail, and
Yeah,
then of
no,
course you just detail it and you use it. So yeah, I mean it's great. It's a great tool. Absolutely.
yes, no, absolutely, and that's how I look at it. And once I finished it, I have like in the beginning, the first page or so, I just kind of explain a little bit of what it is, and then the following page, it's a little kind of a boost, a little pick me up. Uh, all kidding aside, at the end of the day, I'm the wife knows me as as puppies and rainbows because I'm always on the positive side. If if anything horrible is going on, I want to try to find the good in it because it feels like everything's horrible nowadays, even more so, and more for my kids than anything. My sanity. That's the biggest part. Is that I have to keep some kind of positive in my head. And in the beginning of this book, I kind of give a little bit of a boost to whoever picks it up to, just go out there and get it. Just, work
Right.
yourself to positive, you
And
know.
what is this retailing for on Amazon?
This is retailing for $10 right now, but just because it's such it's such a great tool, I'm actually going to bring it down to like 7 because it's
How
just
many
I'm like
pages?
ooh, let me tell you right now. I think it's a total of pages. And we got 60 68 pages with an
Nice.
additional 20 blank pages, just blank pages with nothing on them.
I'm so
So you
sorry.
you you almost have a book that has about close to like 90 plus pages, that you can
Maybe
work
you
on.
could maybe you could do something, like bring down the price if you buy a couple of books. The more you buy, the lower it
Yeah,
goes.
no, absolutely, absolutely.
I think it's a good tool. I really do. I mean, if I could draw, I would honestly buy it, but I can't draw for crap. So,
Stick figures count.
hey, I can give you one hell of a variant stick figure cover. I mean, I'll blow that out of the park. I'm telling you, it'll be great. One arm might be longer than the other still, but hey,
Hey, as long as you show that butt plug, the stick figure will be fine.
you're lucky that most of my rogues gallery is not here tonight, or this butt plug thing would be sticking with me for every frickin' show
Uh,
for the rest of my life.
I'll make sure it does.
It'll be pandas and butt plugs. Hey, that sounds like a new themed book, pandas and butt plugs.
There you go.
Well, if you ever watched an episode, which we know you haven't, you'd understand what the pandas is about. But that's okay. I support you. You don't support me. It's okay. Phil Whiskey helps. Yeah, I don't drink. It's asthma related. I was out shoveling in the cold for hours, and now I'm just a little tight in my bronchioles. So I really am sorry about coughing, but I wasn't going to cancel a show because I had a cough. So besides, like I told you, Maudo, he has no friends, no fans. I couldn't do that to him. And he's
I
staying up
pretty much
past his
gave up too.
bedtime. So I mean, I couldn't do that to him. All right. So I mean, man, you just banged all these books out in several months, which I think is phenomenal. Again, it's a testament to your drive, your motivation, your will. And we've known each other since my show last October, and you know that I'm like you with my endeavors and my passions and what I'm doing, and everybody knows where I've
Yeah.
been going. And you had reached out and you were interested. You wanted to be a part of this with me, and you're the exact person that I would love to be a part of this because of your drive, because of your motivation, because you're someone I can invest in as a person, a human being, as well as your family. And you also are very talented. I'm so sorry. A very talented artist. So I want to start showing, like, this is a sample of a cover. It's a commission cover you did that you sold. Correct. So let me put this up. And I thought you were really, a really solid artist as well as a human being. And I thought this was really cool. This is Punchline.
Hmm.
And you did the inks yourself, correct?
I did the inks. I did all of it myself. Actually, there's I had, and I guess I forgot to send it to you. There's a Copic version of it that was all finished and colored, and I sold it. Just the interest was really high on it too. So it was just one of those things that once Punchline came out, I was like, one of the things that I've realized more and more is that I've become more aware of what characters are out there that catch my interest more, and it's not usually for the ones that are in the moment. It's just something might have come out, and I just gravitate to it, because I
Is
have
that
like
your
this
audio or mine? I don't know
what's
if everybody
going on?
hears, but my audio is getting really bad all of a sudden. For hearing you, is everybody else hearing him like that, or is that just me? Say something. Sorry to cut you off. Say it again.
No, it's fine. Can you hear me, or is it cutting off
Yeah,
still?
every time you speak, it comes out staticky and scratchy.
Do you want to cut it? I bring you back in.
Uh, yeah, Chris is hearing it too. Try to maybe just unplug your headphones quick and plug them back in before we just knock you out. See if that works. This is the best way to get him to shut up. His wife's like, "Ooh, tips." Yeah, Richard's hearing static too. Bees, yes, John, bees. By the way, John, thanks for coming as always and being a participant in the show. I really appreciate it. Oh, Chris and John, Dell and Veer, I'm sorry I did not send you that stuff after the show. I will send you what prints are available to pick from, so we can get you guys those mailed out. Did you plug back on? Because it says you're muted. You're muted. We don't hear you at all.
What about now? Did that work?
Yeah, you're good. Now you're good.
That was it.
So I'm sorry to cut you off, but they can't hear you properly.
No, that's fine. That's
you
fine.
fully colored this. You sold it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Go for
it. So yeah, pretty much I have a habit of when I see something, I kind of gear myself towards it, because I have this that I've worked on, and then I have another one that I did that is related to the 1958 Fly movie.
So yeah, you sent that to me. I can show that.
Yeah, I'm working on, any single time I get a chance, I just did the flats to it, because that doesn't take me too long, but I like to jump in and out just to keep clean and fresh with certain things. I just like, it's pretty much, I know it's kind of, I like what I like, but when I have something in my head that I want to get out, I have to put it on paper somehow as quick as I can. Right. Because I'm afraid it's going to go, it'll just go and the motivation won't be there.
You sent it to me and I can't find it. What the hell? Man, this sucks. I'm so bad at this crap. It was here. Oh, wait. I got it down here. Aha.
Damn it.
Okay. I think it's down here. Anyway, so we're going to show some more work that you've done as well. Are you available for commissions right now?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. All
yes,
right.
I am.
Where would they go to get those commission requests?
So there's this group that I joined, which was the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I think it was, or what was it again?
You're
oh, it was at
that is so funny.
Legendary Illustrations. Actually, it's if you call my rep, Phil, Phil will call my rep. He will contact him, and they will go from there. So yes, because now I have a rep, and my rep is I can't name names, but he has a company, and it's called Legendary Illustrations, and it's working quite well for me.
Except I can't find that fly piece. So we'll show something else. Actually, I'm going to show the piece that I first saw of yours that I thought was really good. You can tell the Larry Hama story if you like. So this is the original piece, and it is for sale on the website. Sorry for the solicitation, people, but so this is the Venom you did. It's original pencils with inks, and I thought it was really cool. We have a print of it too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I mean, I think it's great that you're able to ink your own stuff. And have you ever inked anybody else's stuff? Because that's a different animal altogether.
I just recently it did an alter version of something that somebody else did, because the inks were already done by the artist, and the artist was Keith Williams. And
I was gonna tell you, why don't you send that to me?
I went to the point of adding backgrounds because it was actually something you had on the stream on your live chat that
He
I
gave it
think it was a
away.
giveaway. Yeah, it was a giveaway. And then I just screen captured it and I was like, you know what, let me try something I've never tried before, which is get somebody's artwork and then kind of alter the background or add a back because there was no background to it. So I just had to add a background. And then I'm still learning on Procreate on the best way I can figure out how to color things. I've realized that I'm not a fan of soft coloring. I like coloring that looks like it's kind of brushed on a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm getting way more than I expected from the iPad because now I've gotten much better at coloring, you know. So I'm very much I'm trying to be a
Yeah, it
Renaissance
doesn't look
student.
like total crap anymore. Good job.
Pretty much, if it don't look like
By the way, our legendary family is some of them are here. John, we mentioned before, John Howard is here. He's telling how it's crackly. And then we got Henry Martinez. He said, hello all. What's up, Henry?
Hey, Henry, what's happening, Henry?
And Chris, of course, says, when you said League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, it's a loose term to say gentlemen. So Chris knows us well. Unless, not just me. But again, to show this Venom, I saw this piece. I was really impressed. I thought it's really done well. Mm-hmm. You have this originals for sale on the page on the website, and we also have prints of it. And I'm going to show the print. Did you send me? Yeah, I have the print. Yes. I want you to see the print because I'd like everybody to see how well he colors. Steve Garcia, how you doing, buddy? He said, outstanding stuff, Mr. Zapata.
Thank you very much, Steve.
They're calling you Mr. because they're like, yeah, if we call him by his name, we don't know how to pronounce it either.
Senor.
You're so racist.
That's from Argentina, so.
So this is the colored piece. You colored yourself.
Yes.
You did a nice job with the lighting on it, you know, and again, getting the light source on his body, you did a great job. And
thank you.
And it's weird with Venom. It's like, is he blue? Is he black? We don't know.
Yeah,
and that's how they always draw him and color him, which I think is great.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is phenomenal work, man.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. I know Maudo is not that hard. Gringo, he goes. Chris said, "Maudo isn't that hard." Gringos. Chris will join us, man. Chris is. We should all go hang out someday. Now, Steve Garcia has a question for you. So somebody actually wants to know something from you.
Oh,
are you planning to do conventions in 2021 to push your work? Good question. Because where are you going to be in March?
I think is it Disney World, Disneyland.
I am going to kick. I don't live far from you. It's a 20-minute ride. I know where you live. I'll make a video about you, buddy.
Oh no! Then I have to call. Then I have to literally call you in front of my house to tell you, no, don't do this live.
I'll do it on your front step. Your dog will be on the window behind me like this.
Oh man!
I'm saying like
this. So yes, I will be doing a show. Let me see. Hold on. If I move my finger up, am I close? Am I right there?
No, because that's not what it's called. That's my 2-day. That's my 2-day show. The other show. What's my 1-day show? I have 2 shows.
Oh man, putting me on the spot. So
you don't know the name. You suck. It's the Suffolk Comic and Art Expo on March 14th, Steve. That's where you'll find this slob under the Legendary Illustrations banner. I mean, damn, I got you your first commission at that show last week. Damn it, this is the way I get treated. Shh.
I'm like, what is it? It's the Nassau County. I'm like, no, it's not Nassau County.
As long as you didn't call it the other show. That's so
I love that. Oh, Jesus Christ. That would have been just messed up. That would have
if you did that, we would have had a chat afterwards.
I'd be like, hold on, we got to hang up for a second.
Yeah. By the way, Chris is a Spanish teacher. I forgot. So, that's why. Otherwise, he'd be a dumb gringo, too.
So many.
Oh, so many. Oh man, you are wrong.
Oh man.
While we're on the Venom
Yes.
trip, let's show this one. There's that. Now, this
Yes.
is a print that's available, or is this an original?
This is actually an original. Actually, I had the. It was at WinterCon last year, and pretty much just at the table, just trying to just get some more ideas out. I just decided to do a little ink splot with Venom's face on it, and I was like, I'm a fan of the way that Eric Larson used to draw Venom. There was just something about the way he looked. He looked very. He didn't look comic bookish, but he also looked a little bit, I guess, cartoony. There was something about the way he would do certain of his pages, and I just loved it. And it always just stuck with me. I was like, if I ever draw Venom, and I think this was actually like the second time I ever drew Venom in my life, because I realized doing this that there was a lot of characters growing up that I just didn't draw, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was just kind of I wasn't into it, or I decided that it was that stick figures are not what Phil would like.
Yeah. Venom stick figure coming to you soon.
Yes.
So, how is this digitally colored though, or is this?
Nope,
Did you traditionally color this?
This I did it with Copic markers.
All right, so it is actual original. All right, cool.
Yeah,
Because some people say an original, but it's if it's digital, it's really a print. So I just want to
what,
clear that up.
yeah, yeah. Once you go digital, that's not original. That's just because I've heard that before
Wow,
too. Like,
you hear that? You just had it's like a Dr. Seuss moment. Once you go digital, it's not original. Look at that. Nice. You are a book writer.
And as I said, this is the book that I wrote.
And now we have this, and I'm gonna. It's the original, and we also have it as a print.
Yes.
But just to show people this again, and this is, I like the pieces that you've done that show your sense of humor as well in them, and this is one of them. It's it's what's his name? He was created for the TV show for Batman in the '60s. But he wasn't in the comics.
Correct. Correct.
So
yes,
it also shows your butt plug S&M thing going on. But either way, so this is a funny piece.
Oh, I'll be coming back next time with while you're interviewing somebody else.
Dude, you gotta now. You have to do a piece with a butt plug. That's gonna be funny.
Oh man!
Selling original, an exclusive at the Stuff at Comic and Art Expo. Maudo Zapata's butt plug piece. So this original is for sale, but we also have it as prints. But yes. I mean, you have a varying style. You can do a cartoony style. You can do the children's style, and you can do that. Venom is a lot more. The anatomical, serious, tighter pencils. So I like that. Yeah, I like that you're versatile like that. It makes it easier to get your work.
Well, to me, like when I first did the first children's book, I never drew like that before. The last time I drew the way I did in the children's book, I must have been like maybe 12 or 13, just messing around. But then as I'm doing all this work that I'm doing, I in the back of my mind, I have this thought is that I have to make sure that I just broaden my skills, because every single time that I do something different, I don't just get a little bit of information from it. I get a ton of information of, hey, I never thought you could do this with a specific character or a specific style of work, and then you can incorporate it with your new or pinup or whatnot. Like this was one of those things that I decided to. I'm a huge fan of Batman '66, as many people are. And I was like, well, you know what? Let me just mesh in Batgirl with a version of what if there was Batwoman? What if they had a Batwoman 66?
Right.
And I had this whole story behind my head that you won't see it in this print, but I was like, you know what? She's I'm from South America, and I was like, you know what if this Batwoman is I don't know, Mexican, or she's Hispanic? So she's a Hispanic Batwoman who rides in the desert and fights bad guys in the desert with her bat buggy. And nobody will ever see that, because possibly this might be the first time I ever mentioned it. But it's just, I love creating something that nobody's seen before, but you've seen it before, if it makes any sense.
Yeah, it's got familiarity to it. Yeah.
Well,
so people like this print. It sells.
It does sell. And it's one of my things where I'm like, I have, other than my two daughters, I grew up with the always thought of respect. The females that you're with always respect them because that's what my parents taught me. And, obviously growing up, you've seen different things of different people, but I want my daughters to be as strong, and as
Yep.
the same thing with yours, as strong, brave, and not afraid. And I want to bring my art into it too, to the extent that
Sure.
I can, and any single time I could kind of give them some kind of empowerment for them, I'll do that. But I'm a huge fan of like 1960 pinups, so I'm
Right.
inevitably going to do pinups as well. It doesn't degrade the fact that they're girls are going to be women. It's just that people can like many different things. I
Sure.
just like to make sure I dip my toes in everything because to me, at the end of the day, when I finish a project, I was able to incorporate everything that I learned, and then I move on to the next project, which I'm going to do add whatever from I can from that.
So you can add the butt plug in the next one. Gotcha.
You are all about it.
I'm telling you. John
You're
said
gonna
that,
hit
that that venom that you did with the Copic markers, the head with the splash would make a great pin or a badge, and he's right about that. You could make a whole bunch of
Yeah,
pins and badges.
yeah.
You actually should.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And then Richard said that your style would be cool with Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing, nothing at all. So,
That's great.
and Henry agreed with John that it'd be great to make pins out of those.
Yeah, I thought
So
of
this
that.
this is just some of the stuff that you've got here, and then you have a few other prints. You still have the original for this as well, I think. I don't know anime, so I'll leave this to you. But I just want to show the versatility in your style
Yeah.
again, which is great. Deku, is that the name?
Yes. Yes. I'm as familiar with the character as you are saying it.
Okay,
I grew up with on top of movies in I think it was 1989, I think, or 90. My brother saw, and for all you old school cats, there used to be these two guys who used to tell you what movies are good and what movies are bad. Their name was Siskel and Ebert.
Ebert.
Siskel and Ebert. And at one point, my brother, because we grew up watching Gatchaman, Ultraman, we grew up watching
Sure.
all these Japanese animated shows that we didn't realize they were Japanese until we were a little bit older because they were all like, but they're speaking in English. But like, no, dummy, they're from Japan, And it was one of those big giant moves in animation for us because I love Disney stuff, but I grew up watching G.I. Joe and all that as well. But like, Gigantor, Astro Boy,
Sure.
we watched all that stuff. And then we heard about this thing called, people know it now as Akira, but I grew up hearing it as Akira.
Right.
And Siskel and Ebert had this thing where they were reviewing this movie, and it was something I've never seen in my life. It was animation that looked mind blowing. I still think it's mind blowing the way it's been drawn.
Sure.
And I
Other
grew
than
up
not
watching,
understanding the last 10 minutes of that movie, it was a great movie.
oh my God, I understand that thing left and right. It is butt plugs to the left, butt plugs to the right.
Well, you'll have to explain it to me.
Oh no, but realistically, it was a trippy movie. It's a trippy ending. It's absolutely a trippy ending. But the way that it's all set up and the way that it was animated, it stuck with me. And I've watched
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z and all that bit. I only got familiar with My Hero Academia maybe within the last year and a half. And the
Right.
only reason I did this because I was like, you know what? If I do an Akira, some people will recognize it, but all the younger crowds would be like, who the hell is this? So I
Right.
decided to look into it more, and I came up with my version, alternate version, or of whatnot of Deku, because I was like, you know what? I don't have anything that is geared towards a style that I haven't done before. I enjoy doing it, but I'm not a huge fan of drawing it. I'm a huge fan of watching if I
Right.
can. But the drawing style, again, it's not the style that I enjoy drawing because it seems like
Right.
it's less detailed, but I enjoyed inking it and I enjoyed coloring it because it was something I've never done before.
But you'll still draw it if someone came to your table and wanted one, right,
Well,
Maudo?
left and right, I would.
This is why
do.
you guys need agents because you just keep putting your foots in your mouth.
It's like, you know what I hate?
Yeah, I mean, really.
Japanese anime. Be like, no.
No offense, but artists make me laugh because they have no marketing skills whatsoever. It's like, I hate this, I don't like that, and you're like, okay, but you do want to make, have fans and money, right? You don't want to like
That's why
let's
you
just
never add
let's
the
just
word
take a
hate.
whole let's take a whole group of people, a whole demographic, and say I can do it, but you know what? I'm not.
Yeah, no, see, and that's the reason why I've done so many different styles, because I want to show the versatility that I have.
But I
And
am
just for
going to
that
tell
reason.
you, Akira. Listen, the anime and the manga people,
Hmm.
they're very dedicated to it. I mean, they're really intense about it. I'm willing to
Yeah,
bet even the new people damn well know what Akira is or
yeah,
Akira,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
that is the holy grail. That is the Bible.
It is.
That is the father of all that they love. So I'm willing to bet they all know it. And the
Yeah.
animation stands up today, absolutely.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'd be willing to bet that they still know it.
Yeah, well, they do. They do, because every single time I go to, like, I went to a Tokyo toy store about a week ago in the city when I was leaving work, and they had little Akira, I think a pop here and there, or a poster of a small little, I guess, something you can build together. And Akira still, it is still something that is in the vast majority of the Japanese anime culture that has been really captured by the United States,
Right.
Western culture. So yeah, that might be something I might want to do, because I am a fan of it still.
Now, here's another piece. Again, your humor is in on this, which I think is great. Um, Now you have the original for this too up for sale, right? You
I
said you
do.
haven't sent it to me yet. Okay,
I do. Well, you know what? Because I was talking to who's the guy who does your website?
Andy. He's Andy
Andy.
Lee.
Andy, thank you very much, Andy, because he gave me the idea. Because when I initially drew this, I drew it in two pieces. Because my thought was that I would just do the background with the British soldier in the front at his podium, and
Royal Guard.
then the Royal Guard, and then I decided to do Spider-Man separately because I didn't know where I wanted to put him, and
Okay.
I was afraid I was going to ruin it. And this was kind of really one of my first real pinups that I did.
This
Because
is
I was
how you did is how they used to do it
That's
in
again,
comics
that's
way back in
100%
the
true.
day.
That is 100% true, of just doing separate pieces and then gluing on your cutting out your piece and then gluing it on. And I was afraid of doing that. And then Andy just told me, he's like, you should just do that. It's just like, that's how you used to do back in the day. I'm like, yeah, why the hell am I not doing that? Because my first thought is like, who wants cut pieces? And I'm like, I want cut. If somebody had Jack Kirby cut pieces, I would buy them in a second if I could afford them.
Right.
So I don't know what it was that it like I've had it to the side, and after he told me that, I'm like, I'm gonna do that. I do have to do that. But yeah, this is one of like my first real pinup pieces that I did.
Yeah, and we'll make it
Of
clear that that's the original was done, the old-fashioned way, and that's what it
Yeah,
is. Everybody will know.
yeah.
We do things the right way, and
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure
no,
somebody will be
absolutely.
interested because it's a cool piece and it's a funny piece.
Yeah,
It shows not just your humor, but that's Peter Parker. Or is that
yeah.
Peter Parker or is that Miles? Because it's like I'm
Peter.
colorblind. Okay,
Well, it was, yeah. So this is for the Spider-Man. This was, I think, I finished this a month before Homecoming came out, and that was
okay,
the goal. The goal was to, like, you know what? Let me have something up to date with the most latest and greatest movie. You know.
right. Now we have a print and we have the original here too for this, and this is also on sale. And you do a good cartoony but manic look on his face of the Joker. See,
Yes.
people to me are always trying to top making the Joker look creepier and more vile and more vile.
Hmm.
To me, he never looks more creepier than when he isn't looking evil and mean. That's the whole
I
point.
Yeah.
He looks
I
like he'll lure a kid in
Yeah.
and then do something vile. That's he like Caesar Romero. I know people are gonna laugh at me. Other than the mustache, he
Yeah.
was the best Joker.
Yeah. But I
If he
feel the
was able to
same way.
slam somebody over the head with a hammer, he would have been the best Joker.
I think the same thing, and it's like I thought Heath Ledger did a
Queen's
great job
Guard. Sorry,
doing a
we've been
version.
corrected. John Howard said it's the Queen's Guard. So sorry, it's the Queen's Guard. John
We.
didn't. Well, you called it a British soldier. You don't know what the hell you're talking. I'm like, I was closer. I had guard in there.
I said Australian. I said Australian
Yeah,
outback.
yeah.
You see that
You're a mess.
kangaroo with Peter Parker? I'm like, what?
You're a mess. So I do. I think if Cesar Romero could have been in this day and age and did
Yeah.
actual acts of violence and like the over the top stuff, he would have been the best Joker.
Yeah, no, and that's where kind of this came from because it was just I've seen so many Jokers, and I love the different versions. Hold on, let me rephrase that. The Jared Leto version was the only one I never liked, and
Yeah,
it was just one of those things where it just seemed like an emo version of a character that did not have to go in that direction. So I've been a fan of like the Joker since '89 Batman. That when I saw it on the big screen, but I was a fan before that with Cesar Romero. So like I wanted to do something like fun, but not too. It feels like almost every Joker now is violent. It has to be so violent where they have to show everything. I'm like, back in the day when we would watch horror movies, you would never see the monster until maybe the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the movie. And
right.
I miss those. I miss storytelling like that, where if the Joker's doing something bad to somebody, you don't see everything. You don't see him,
Well, I
like
mean, isn't the best storytelling guiding you to come to your conclusion sometimes? And sometimes what
yeah,
you think in your mind happened is 10 times more
it's
impactful and powerful than what actually is shown to you.
I have to say 20 times just for the reason being it's just it puts something in your mind that as much of a fan as I was of like the way that they did the Blair Witch idea. I didn't like the movie, but I like the fact that they went to the route of like you had this idea that there was a witch
Right.
that is out there. You've never seen a witch. You just see a bunch of kids
You
with
see a guy
camcorders walking
urinating in the
around,
corner at the end. Exactly.
and then a girl tripping on the rock and the camera falls.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what happens. But the fact that they put that in your head that there might be something there, like The Exorcist. In The Exorcist, you don't see a
Less is
lot of what's
more.
going on, but it
Less is
really
more.
is. It really is. And that's how I have so many stories that I want to write that I have one that is something that hasn't been done before, but the way that I have it pictured in my head is that you don't see the main character through as how can I say it, throughout the story. You just see shadows of him because something happened to him where he kind of mended with something else, and you don't
Right.
see it until the very end, or you don't see till the very end somebody's reaction to what it looks like. Like I love stuff like that because it makes you think of what this actually really looks like, because your brain made it seem like, oh my god, this creature had, I don't know, I think it had 4 eyes or 5 eyes and tentacles, but nobody ever saw it. It was just
Per-
written down on paper.
a perfect example of a horror film that to me is a masterpiece with less is more. Halloween. I mean,
Exactly.
he's the shape. They
Yeah.
don't give him a big
Yeah.
backstory.
Yep.
They don't have to explain everything to you, and then you just see him standing in the background, or you hear the breathing, and he's not
Yeah.
even in the screen
Yeah.
shot.
Absolutely.
Or when the kids look out the window and you see him walking with the body up the stairs from
Yeah.
across the street. Less is more. I believe that, and I agree. By the way, John
Yeah.
said he loved the mania in his eyes, which I agree. I like
Thank
that
you.
because he's
Thank
got
you.
lifeless eyes, like it doesn't matter to him what he's doing or what he's about to do.
Correct.
And that's
Yeah.
what makes the Joker creepy. It's not peeling
Yeah.
off his face with Joe's garage.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
someone who does, to me, that was not understanding the Joker.
Yeah. It was
And
taken
and
it to a
have
level that didn't make sense.
I
I understand
agree.
for sales. For sales, it made sense. Absolutely, for sales, it made sense.
Well,
But
that story
like,
disappointed me. Death in the family and nobody
yeah,
dies.
yeah, that was the part that I was kind of like, so what's the point of calling it this if you're not going
Yeah,
to
I mean,
do this?
yeah. Well, marketing. We know. See,
Yeah.
marketing. There you go, marketing. Just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Batman wedding, marketing.
No,
Uh,
absolutely.
well,
Absolutely.
I would like to hope that people can market what's actually going on. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I mean, again, you see your art style. I love it, and you're one of those guys that with your determination, your hard work, you just keep getting better and better and better because you plug away. I mean, my God,
Thank
man,
you.
you get up at the 2:33 in the morning when you have everybody be aware of this. He has a full work day where he even goes to the city and things like that. The guy, you're talking about a work day that's 7 in the morning to 5 at night or something like that. With travel and everything, or 6 at night.
Yeah, well, so pretty much here I'll give you a kind of a week's based of how my week is every week is that during the work week from Monday to Friday, I get up at 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'm out the door by maybe 3:45, 4 o'clock. I'm on the road. It takes me about an hour
Oh,
and a
okay.
half maybe an hour and 10 minutes to get to my location. I'm at the parking spot by 5 o'clock. Doors don't open a lot of times till 7 o'clock, but I get an hour and a half of time to get some work done on my iPad and get some drawing done. And then I get home maybe about, depending on, 5:30, 6 o'clock nowadays, and then I have like maybe 3 hours, 2 hours with the kids. And then on the weekends, I do the same thing. I wake up early in the morning at 2:30, 3 o'clock. I get 4 or 5 hours of time in the studio of drawing and getting stuff done, inking, coloring, and then I go upstairs and spend time with the kids, and the wife to finish out the day, and then I repeat the same thing on Sunday. And that's been like that, and I've started clocking it. That's been like that since 20. I think it's been since April 2018. Right.
And how you holding up?
It's been tough at times. I do have to admit, there's been times that it's been like very tough. But the thing that gets me out of bed is the thought of if I don't get up.
No.
Well, my first thought is like, if I don't get up, I'm lazy, and that's my first thought. It's just like, I'm not lazy. I'm better than this. I'm better than this. I have so much I have to get done, and that's why, like, in order for me to do certain things like play games, I grew up playing video games. But I can't do that because I'm like, that's taking away time from my craft, and I only have one life to get this done as best as I can, because there is no perfect, and I don't care what anybody says. Practice makes perfect.
Hello.
Sorry, King Charles. It's just one of those things that I just have this mentality, and I always tell my kids, is practice does not, they know that practice does make you perfect. It just makes you better. And, my mentality, and one of these days I have to get on a shirt that everybody always says, you got to get to the top of the mountain. Once you're at the top of the mountain, to me, there is no mountain. There is no mountain. You must never believe that there's a top to that mountain. Because if you believe there's a top to that mountain, then you're screwed. Because once you get up there, what are you going to do? What's your plan? You got to think that if you're going up this mountain, that you got to keep on climbing. You got to keep on climbing. And then once you get to a certain point, you pass the torch. You're never at the top of the mountain. Once you get to a certain point at that mountain, you retire. I don't see retiring in my future at all, because I enjoy doing this.
I don't think you'd rest. I don't think you'd do well with
I don't.
I wouldn't either.
I don't. Yeah, but like the mentality that I always have is there's no top of the mountain. And I think that's been my biggest drive, because the day that I think there's a top of the mountain, it's either A, I died and I don't realize it, or B, I figured out that at this point I can't give anymore. And that ain't me. So it's possibly A, I died.
Well, because the top of a mountain means it's finite. And that's you're right. Saying that your effort should never be finite. It continues until your time is done.
You got to learn. You got to learn everything you possibly can. I did not know how to use Procreate. Photoshop, when I was younger, I figured out how to use Photoshop. Nobody taught me that. Nobody taught me how to do Copic. I learned that.
Teach me.
But it's one of those things that I picked it up because I picked up as many books as I can, and I kid you not, sometimes it might annoy the piss out of people when they see like videos on YouTube of there's like a kid who's like 20 years younger than you showing you how to use a program. Part of you sometimes is like, oh, I feel like such an asshole, but then sometimes you're like, but you're learning something you've never done before. That's the part you should take away from it, because I do that. I still look online to look at something that I might not know how to do. I want to know how to do it. And if it's got to be by a 12-year-old.
How do you insert this into your butt?
Oh my God. But it really is. It's one of these things that I don't know if it's the part of it has to do with, it's the foreign mentality. I grew up here, but I wasn't born here. So I have the immigrant mentality that my parents came here from Argentina in 1980 to do best that they could for their family. And for the life of me, I will not let them down. And I grew up in a really bad neighborhood growing up on Long Island. I grew up in Brentwood, and Brentwood now has gotten worse, but I saw things that I kind of never want my kids to ever see. And technically, in statistics level, I shouldn't even be alive, because I was a Hispanic in a Hispanic neighborhood, and I either should have been dead gang or having 10 kids by now, and I never got that point. And it's just one of those things that
Stereotype
I'm like,
one, check.
yeah,
Stereotype two, check.
but it's
Stereotype three,
but
check.
literally, but you're not, but it's
No, I get it.
exactly that,
I get it.
and it's just one of those things that I think in the back of my mind is that it's not that I'm just I don't want to let my parents down. Now that I have kids, Jesus, the thought of giving up on anything, I'm like, no way, no way. I
Dude,
want to
you
do
and I
everything.
are right here with that. We have to be the men that
Absolutely,
they deserve someday, and we have
absolutely,
to be the writing on the wall. The
yeah.
wall scripture that says follow your dreams and dream big. That's all horse shit unless you show them you can do it, how to do it.
But that's so true when you hear somebody saying, well, I remember I heard once, and I didn't hear it again because either I had headphones on from there on. I heard somebody say, and it was a young person say, well, the only way to do is just become YouTube famous. And I kind of wanted to turn around, and I'm a very nice guy. I love fucking around. I love messing around. I wanted to knock the shit out of this kid for even saying that out loud where people can hear it. Where I'm like, your goal is what? My education is a little bit of college, because after a certain point, I was like, this isn't for me. You got to find what's for you. And for me picking this up with doing more sequential work, doing more art, doing books at technically the age that I'm at is the perfect time in my life for me to be doing everything that I'm doing now. Because some people be like, you should have been doing it earlier, or how come you didn't? I'm like, if I was younger doing this, I would have sucked because I would have thought I would have been better than everybody else. I would have been a snot-nosed kid. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're an
no,
egomaniac. Yeah.
yeah, but that's what exactly it is. So many people would have this mentality of, because you see that. Well,
Look,
you've
it
seen it.
happens. It happens when it's supposed to happen, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a process. I mean, would you have been ready for this? You wouldn't have had this mentality back then, which you didn't. Is why
No,
we didn't do it. Exactly. We had to mature. We had to grow.
no.
And Randy makes a great point too. Kids change your perspective on everything. And by the
Hey,
way,
Randy.
Alfred, thanks for coming out. How are you? And yes, only I would ask that question. um, yeah, Randy just got a Submariner done by you, which is pretty cool. Randy has some great
Yes,
artwork, and
yes,
I
he
just
does.
met him not too long ago. He's another art collector, really nice guy.
He's a
He
cool cat. Yeah,
also
he
is
is.
donating to that family that we
Awesome.
slightly messaged. So he's another great guy,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely, man.
so I just want to remind everybody, seriously, it is not a waste of your money. It's $7.95. Go to Amazon. You've got the Christmas version and the Halloween version of Monsters and Milkshakes. It's a children's coloring book. Or hey, if you want to learn how to color traditionally with Copics and stuff, you can use it too as a tool. I mean, seriously. I mean, just because the
Yeah.
caricature is childlike, it doesn't mean you can't practice and learn on it. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
You've also got the little black book of thumbnails, which is a really great, useful tool for artists. I mean, if you're out in a park and you want to study composition and poses and anatomy, you've got your little black book right there. And of
Yeah.
course, there's the children's story on Amazon, Our New Different World, which is not preachy, not political at all. But it is a really nice, well written, children friendly, obviously, it's a children's book perspective of children and their understanding or lack thereof of all the weird things that have gone on this year.
Yeah.
And I own all of this stuff, and I owned it before I was repping him, so because it was just worth it. And we spent some nice time with our children, coloring and reading the book, and I highly recommend them. And you're also supporting a really one of the good people in the world, as you can hear.
Well, thank you,
Um,
brother.
I don't. This is going to sound arrogant. I don't mean it, but it's not often I run into someone who has my psychotic drive.
But
I
it's
mean,
true. It's
I meet
100%
a
true.
lot of hard-working people, hard-working, but
Mm,
even my wife is like, "You are insane,"
mm.
and you are that same way. So we are kindred spirits in that respect.
Yeah, I
And I
agree.
want to see you succeed, dude. And I'm so glad you're part of the legendary family. Um, this is going to come across as a shameless plug for me, but honestly, it's for Maudo. Maudo is now part of our family, like Henry Martinez and John Howard, with the legendary illustrations. Um, bullpen, I guess we'll call it. And if you can find Maudo there on Instagram and Facebook individually, you can go to the website right now where a lot of his artwork is up for sale, and more will be listed. You can go to the Legendary Illustrations Instagram and Facebook as well to see posts about him. Support him, follow him, share, like all his posts, get him more exposure. Share this video out, please, to get him out to more people. The guy's going to be up in 4 hours, not even 3 hours, so make it worth his while, people.
Well, put it this way. I got to a point where, and you've seen it, that even for the Monsters and Milkshakes first coloring book, I took on the idea of, you know what, if I could find out how to figure out how to put a little bit more time and make a commercial for it, I want to do that.
I meant to bring that up at the beginning of the show. Dude, he does these really, really awesome retro, cheesy 70s, 80s commercials for the Monsters and Milkshake. He just put a new one up for the Christmas one. They are hilarious. But they're not just hilarious. They make you remember when you're an old timer like me that those were commercials that were on TV that we took serious.
Yes, so, yeah.
You have to go to his Instagram page and see those commercials. The newest one is just been put up a post or two ago, and the other one's a couple of months ago. But oh my God, they were funny. They're great. They're great. I mean, you had for the Halloween one, you had like mist. You had smoke. Would you have a smoke machine? How did you?
No.
Did you put steam on in the shower?
The way that I got all of that is actually a projector in the back. There's a projector in the back that I got. I found it on YouTube. It was a moon. It was a picture of like the creepy woods and a moon just standing still. And then I have a moon that is just this round plastic thing that I guess had a remote to it, but we never had one. We never had a remote to it. So I just put it up there, put a light to it, and it looks like it's like kind of a little bit of a fog. It's all these things that I'm like, I've looked at so many cheesy, like Elvira type commercial type, hey, we got masks at this local hardware store or whatever from 1970 something. So I just really just studied the crap out of it. And I was like, I want to make a cheesy looking commercial for it because I like being serious about certain things and I like messing around with certain things. If I could do both, then I've won. And if they look exactly how I want them to. They
were great. I mean, the narration, the sound effects, it was great.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
Man, I had a blast.
I'm actually thinking of talking to you about doing one for the Suffolk show just for fun, and we'll put it up. I mean, we could work something out.
Well, remember, I was at one point I was going to do that.
Sunday. You could do like the monster truck rally.
That's what I was going to. I was going to do a monster truck rally version because the show was on a Sunday, and I used to be in a band back in the day. A lot of people didn't know before I was in the band. I used to just watch cartoons. And that's how a lot of my English came into the States. It was watching Benny Hill, Johnny Carson, The Muppet Show. And that's how I learned English. A lot of people were like, what? And Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And that's how I learned English. And it was one of those things that it was mimicking stuff. And then watching Henson movies, I just loved doing just random voices. So then I was like, one of these days I want to use it. Once I became a dad, man, I was like, I struck gold, I
have my own built-in audience now. I can be as stupid as I want, and they have to sit here and watch.
I don't know how many times the wife has looked at me. She's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, everything.
By the way, Chris, I'm going to let you know, no spell check. His name is with an R, but he puts the D because nobody knows that you say it Maudo.
Correct.
So because of that, he puts the D on purpose, but you were right the first time. It is Mauro. But if you want him on Facebook, because he doesn't understand marketing, or on Instagram, it's Maudo.
Or Zapata.
So just so you know, Chris has he has a co-host. They have their own podcast show, and it's called The Nerd Byword. And cool. Chris is saying he'd love to have you on their show as well. So I don't know if you're friends on Facebook, but go Chris Markle. I hope I pronounced your last name right, Chris.
Send me a message, please.
Definitely good show, great people. I had them on a 20-minute clip, and it was a great segment. Having them on. It was a great segment. They're knowledgeable about comics. They're cool people, and it'll be a fun show for you to be a part of. So I recommend you go.
Absolutely.
You just have to talk to his rep. There's a fee. I'm kidding.
That's how you put it in.
I'm kidding.
I
So
joke. I joke.
so we've actually been at this an hour and 45 minutes. I didn't think you'd be interesting enough for anybody to give a crap for that long. So, having said that,
Good night, everybody.
I'm gonna wind up killing myself every time I laugh. No, you honestly, I'm so sorry. You are one of the finest people. I mean, you're one of the finest people. I'm glad we've met and become friends. I'm also
Thank
glad
you.
we're working together. I have to be
Yes.
honest with you. Your whole mentality towards everything makes my job easier as an art rep, and I'm appreciative of that. I'm
Yeah. Well,
glad
it
you're
should be.
aboard as part of the family. I adore your family in the brief time that I've gotten to spend time with them,
Same to you.
and I think you really do put out some very quality work. I mean, not just like obviously commissions like the Punchline that you did,
Yeah.
or the prints, but just the books you're putting out, the coloring books, the Our New Different World, the children's story, and the little black book of thumbnails. Honestly, I was thinking of picking up. I'm going to pick up the black book as well for my wife, who's an artist, which would be good for her
Yeah.
because she doesn't get a lot of time to draw. So to have that on her to take those moments to try to scribble and draw and do some thumbnails, I think would be fantastic for her.
Yeah. That's why I made it small. I made it small so it's a portable. It's a portable little book you can take anywhere.
Yeah, and so again, I'm gonna give you a few minutes. Just plug everything you want to plug. Don't forget to let them know who your rep is and what the next show is. And
Remind me which one was the next show. It's in March.
all right, it's the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in Nassau at Nassau Coliseum.
May the 12th, right? May
Yeah.
the 12th be with you. I'm like, no, no.
Oh, this is why
Well,
Henry said it before. Henry Martinez said that's why we need reps. That's right, Henry. That's why you guys
it
need
is
it.
100% true. But yeah, but realistically, on one note, I have to say, I like, and I'm speaking on behalf of everybody else who's not speaking on behalf, who's not here right now, is that the fact is that we appreciate everything that you're doing. The fact that having this outlet to go and talk to people, to have these conversations, to excuse my French, to bullshit, it's one of these things that we completely appreciate all the work that you're doing and how you created this group of people to be, I don't know, so involved, and it's a place for everybody to come to. That he's off camera crying. Oh no, he's back.
No, I thought I was
I
going to
knew
start
it.
coughing
I
again.
knew it.
I
But
thought I
we
was going to
do.
start coughing again. So go ahead.
I just want to say we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you a ton because we see how hard you're working for everybody else, but also too on how much you love this, and that's the biggest seller. The
I
seller is
do.
the fact that you love
I
it.
do.
That it's not like a hey, you know what I want to do? I want to just be a business guy. It like that's before anything. The art's always been there, and the fact that you put so much effort into it, and I've seen it. I've seen you push as much as you can to a point where I'm like,
You're always
you want
telling me, dude, how about you? How about well, this wasn't supposed to be about me, but thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I do appreciate your 70s wallpaper. Um,
absolutely.
John John said, "Great stuff, guys. Didn't expect so many butt plug references, but c'est la vie."
That's right.
Um,
We
and John Howard, I'm forgive my plug on your show, is also a very talented artist that hopefully will be on one day. He is part of the Legendary Illustrations family, and I say
nice.
family. I want that to be the atmosphere. I hope it is, because we're all in this together. We have the same common goals and dreams. We just want to, be happy and fulfill our dreams, and we just, we want to succeed and be able to live off of this and not be at the day job that is just draining us and feels like it's in the way. You shouldn't have to be getting up at 2:30 in the morning to juggle all this. We want you to be waking up at 8 in the morning and getting your day going as an artist and a creator.
Unfortunately, if that was a full-time job as well, I would still get up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning because I'd feel like I'd need to finish some other things.
Fair enough. But
Yes.
again, I hope that in whether it's a small way or a big way, that if I can help in any way, to make people achieve their dreams. I really want that to happen. There was a long period of my life where I didn't think I could accomplish anything. I've already surpassed all the expectations that people had for me,
Yeah.
which they weren't high apparently. But um, and I hate to see people feel like I did for many years of my life. I hate to
Mhm.
see people struggle with the actual competition. Don't anybody ever think that the competition is somebody else. That competition is always you.
Yeah.
You're
That's
competing
100%.
with yourself. You're competing with your self doubt. You're competing with your fear. You're competing with your discouragement. You're competing with what you've let people tell you you are. And
Yeah.
I hate to see that. I hate to see that. You dictate the terms of who the hell you are, and everybody can kiss your butt. I'm serious about that. And that's part of my passion for what I do here. Now, if I get some selfish satisfaction out of that, then that's fair enough. But I like to see everybody, realize their potential. And it's not for me to tell you what your potential is; it's for you. You
Yeah.
know,
You got to find it on
Randy,
your own. You got to find it on your own.
Randy's right. Success is the best revenge for the people who said you couldn't. And for me, it's not even revenge, although that is true. Because you know what, I don't need to prove to them they were wrong, but I did need to prove to me they were wrong.
But you know, the screwed up part about that is that there is this like weird mentality of like, it's the people who told me I could never do it. Not once in my life have I had anybody tell me I couldn't do it. It's all literally up here. That's the sickening part about it,
Well, you're
is
your own
where,
worst critic.
oh my God, it's just like, you could never do it. I'm like, who said that? And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen.
just this.
That's weird. I've seen you just standing there like talking to yourself. I was like,
Oh man, I swear, if there was a camera on me at 24 hours, I'd be like, there is possession.
no, we just have to see your commercials to know that something's not
Uh,
right.
Dude, I'm gonna keep on doing those as long as I can, just for the
I'm
hell of
not
it.
kidding. I'm going to ask you. We'll work something out in compensation if
Yeah,
you could do one
yeah,
for the Suffolk show. I would be
sure,
awesome.
absolutely,
And I am going to
absolutely.
remind you, as much as this is a self plug, it is a plug for him and Henry Martinez, who's here in the chat room. They will
Hey,
both be
Henry.
at the Suffolk Comic and Art Expo. So come out. They'll probably. I don't know if you'll have room, but check with them. They might have pre-show commission lists closer to the
Yeah,
show. You get the
yeah,
commission, online through me, and you can pick it up at the show. So you don't have to stand around and
yeah,
wait for it to be done. It'll be done. You do that
yeah,
with a bunch of artists at the show. You're not waiting online for anybody to pass it around. You just get your commissions done, and that's it. Boom. You walk,
yeah.
pick up, and that's it. And support these guys. Support them, please. Um, you're not just supporting them. You're supporting their families. You're supporting the dream that they're pursuing, and you're supporting that dream in yourself. Because if you could see them achieve, why can't
Hmm.
you? It.
Yeah,
John just said, strength in numbers and artist passion is infectious, and it's not artist passion is this passion in so many different areas. Whatever your passion is,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
make yourself uncomfortable.
yeah. Try to learn as much as you can. Pick up everything you possibly can, because I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen with a lot of artists. Just looking at every type that I can on Instagram and even on Facebook. Some people feel like they're stuck. Like, I only can do this. Don't do that, because honestly, if I say I'm only a pencil, I wouldn't have known how to do my own inks. I wouldn't have known how to do my own colors.
And you're very good at
And
all of them.
well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that, because not that I'm like, if I get a phone call from some publisher saying, "Hey, I want you to do all of it at once," obviously it's not going to be realistic, because that's not how the industry works. But the fact that I'm available to do A, B, and C, that to me is my biggest gain. That the next guy over that only could do either A, or only could do B, or only C, I just stepped it up for him. And learn. Just try to get as much as you can. And if you say, well, I don't have enough time, here, you have enough time. You can't keep on throwing an excuse to yourself. There's enough time to do all this stuff. You just gotta do it. You can't say, oh well, I need more sleep. my mentality is I'll sleep when I'm dead, and that's
You,
literally what you kind of have to keep.
but you know what the truth is? I used to think it was laziness that people made excuses for. In some cases, it is. You know what it really is? Fear and self doubt.
Oh,
Those are
absolutely.
the
That's throw
enemy.
that in there.
Those
Yep.
are a self-imposed enemy. By the way,
Yep.
Alfred Pennyworth, you said agree. We have to support each other. Alfred has an art book out. Alfred, put the link in the chat to where we can buy your art book. Okay, buddy. He's also self-published his art book online. There's some
Yeah,
great,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's some great, what do you call it? Sketches of TV celebrities and stuff, and movie celebrities in their roles, stuff like that. Indiana Jones and the Flash and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
really cool book. Alfred was on the show, so please put that post in the chat. Randy, the show is a one-day show, March 14th. If COVID and everything is under control and capacity restrictions are lifted and people feel safe, we have Larry Stroman, we have Keith Williams, we have Billy Tucci, we have Sean Chen, we have Mike Lilly, we have Ron Wilson, Rodney Ramos. We might have a few other quote unquote headliners as well. Scott Hanna. He just said he wants to be in. I got to fit
Mm.
everybody, but Scott Hanna. And then of course we've got some amazing talent that they may not be a household name yet, but they will be, like Maudo Zapata and Henry Martinez, who I'm telling you now, I don't understand why Henry isn't a household name. He worked for Marvel, and Henry did Spirits of Vengeance and Blaze, and then Exiles, New Exiles for Malibu, and other stuff. And he's a great guy. He'll be there. So it's just gonna be a fun show. We'll have comic dealers and tons of artists, and it's March
Yeah.
14th. It's a one day 10 to 6, and
I'm
it's
psyched
here in
for it.
Suffolk County.
I'm very psyched for it.
Man, they can't keep us down. They can't. They can't. They can't. Steve said, in time for 2021 conventions, Maudo should develop a Legendary Illustrations promo butt plug, but it would sell like he bets it will sell like hotcakes. Hotcakes, I tell you. You could Maudo character for that butt plug. I'm just gonna tell you now. You and Steve in a room with me would be probably the most fun I've ever had in my freaking lifetime, because the two of you are the biggest clowns. Steve is hilarious. He's
That's awesome.
hilarious. No, if you don't follow Steve Garcia on Facebook, go follow him. He's also an awesome animator, and he worked storyboarding for the Iron Giant and some other things. But
That's awesome.
he is just a hilarious freaking dude. I mean, he is funny and he's a good guy, and he's become a friend on Facebook. I really look forward to meeting him someday. He'll be at my Creatorcon 2-day show when it comes
See,
around.
but honestly, that's one of those things that I feel like, that's lacking in a sense with the industry a little bit, because everybody that I've met who is on the higher up scale of things has been very serious. Not all of them, but a lot of them have been just serious to the point where I'm like, dude, did somebody did a dingo take your baby or something? Because it's gotten to a point, reference. It's one of these things that I don't understand. I'm like, we're fans of comic books, storytelling. We're storytellers.
Because money got involved, and greedy people that didn't have a passion for comic books are running everything. And on top of that, I got one word for you, Maudo: ego.
Oh, I know that, and
that's
it kills me because
killed the humor of it.
Some of these guys, where I'm like, they're so upper class mentality. Where I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, I love comics, but it's comic books. They're storytellers. They're graphic novels, but they're something that people are looking for. They're not a necessity. And the minute you start becoming kind of a douche, that necessity goes away because you are pushing it away. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm gonna when I there are certain people, I won't name them here, but there are some people in the industry that really deserve for me to walk up to them at a convention and put Massengill right on the table and walk away.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Thank God they are not the majority.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But ego is a very big issue in this industry. Everybody's striving to be that person that's well known and number one. And the funny thing is, you'll be known by two things: being genuine, and what you put out, there.
but also it's what you can take as well. Because I got a chance. Larry Hama. I
Yeah,
met
actually,
Larry
I'm
Hama.
glad you brought this up because real quick, I was going to say one of your best assets is that you could take a punch to the chin and
Yeah,
with a smile. Go ahead, go for it.
absolutely. So I got a chance to sit down with Larry Hama for a good 15 or 20 minutes at I forgot which convention it was. I think it was
Falcon.
PowCon. And I was like, I had sequential work with me that I had this whole story. I still have it with me. And the point of the story is all these characters in the story that I wrote have their mouths covered because they are aliens. So, uh, I'm like, all right, I don't, this is what it is. At the end of the story, the reveal is they don't have any mouths. Ooh. But I know how to draw mouths and body parts and this and that. So I show it to Larry Hama, and Larry Hama is, um, how can I say it? He is being as real as he can be. And
He's straightforward, no filter. He's not there to cushion you. He's not there to baby you.
I, and not to make it sound weird, but I love that. I
Well, he was
love
an
that. Not
editor.
and it's not in a cynical way where I'm like, "Oh, please hurt me." Nothing like that. It's the fact
Back
that
to the S&M
back to
again.
the MSM, man. It's not like that. It's the fact that when somebody, your mom and dad, the purpose of their job growing up when you're little is they tell you how good of a job you're doing. Those are the only people who should be telling you how good of a job you're doing. If you have random people, friends, cousin, relatives, this and that, telling you how good of a job you're doing and just telling it to your face, you're going to think, I'm doing a great job. And then when you show it to an actual profession, a professional, and they're like, what the hell is this? You're going to cry. You're going to grab your tail, put it between your legs, and run away. Larry Hama is one of the best things about that man is the fact that he's upfront, and this is why me and Phil get along so well, is because we're just upfront guys. I'll tell you, I don't like this, but we can still talk. Jesus Christ, if we don't agree on something, we could still have a conversation. If you like the color green, but I like the color yellow, whatever it may be, it shouldn't be well, I can't talk to you now because we're not thinking the same. If that was the case, this world would be even more screwed up than anything else. So when I went to take these the sequential work to Larry Hama, he broke it down. I like this. When he liked something, he wouldn't say it. He'd just be like, uh-huh. But he would go to the next page. How come this guy doesn't have a mouth? How come this guy doesn't have a mouth? And I explained the whole story to him. And he goes, you know what this is? I was like, what? He's like, this shows that you can't draw mouths. And I'm like, whoa, I can draw mouths. And I showed him a bunch of the prints of these characters that I did that all have mouths. But he's like, think about it. You have all these characters. Who are you? Who knows you? And if the first person that never heard your name before picks up this book, what's the first thing you're going to say? And I'm like, motherfucker, they're going to think I can't draw mouths. But it's the fact that he was ripping into my work in the most professional way. He was
Not
standing on a
nasty, but
tightrope.
not filtered.
No,
Right.
not at all. Not at all. And I love that. I love that because he's being honest and he's being truthful, but he's also not trying to sugarcoat things just to kind of make
Yes, man,
rub the baby's
not
belly.
helping.
Yeah. No, it's just he's pointing me in the right direction. You need to work a little on this. Don't do that. You should fix this. This looks good, but don't do that. And it's just the fact that he took 15 to 20 minutes. We sat down. He showed me maybe you could do this, maybe you could do that. The fact that he ripped a lot of my work of my beginner sequential, I appreciate to pieces because I went back and started redoing everything possible, but it's just because of I had an honest answer from an honest artist tell me a fact, and I got that fact, and I said, all
But
right, you
most
know what?
important, from someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is that there's some people out there who are just obtuse, snotty guys, and girls. And it's just some of the mentality they have is they either want to put you down just because they can, or they're going to yes you until you're blue. And to me, like, there's no gain in that. You need to have rough skin doing this stuff. You need to hear people say, hey, look, your drawings are okay. What are you going to do? You're going to get mad at them and just walk away? No, you're going to be like, well, what does it make it okay? Because then it gives me an idea of how I can fix it or what I can do better. And that's why when I say, if you can figure out how to pencil, ink, and color as I'm still learning the process, and I feel like I'm never going to stop learning, which is the mentality that I will always have. I'm always going to want to learn. Then you will move mountains, because all these books that I did, you know who helped me? No one. I did all these books on my own. I did all these covers on my own. I did all the writing on my own. Does it take a little longer? Yes, it does. But you can kill that time by waking up earlier. Instead of doing, hey, let's play 2 hours of Xbox or whatever it may
Right.
be. Spend those 2 hours in your craft. Learn it. If this is what you really want to do, push towards that direction.
Be
But
uncomfortable. Bleed.
you do. You have to bleed in this. You have to bleed in this. And I just got scrapes right now. That's all I have. I have a lot of bleeding to do, and
Well,
I'm okay with that.
but a lot of people don't understand this either, though. Sometimes a publisher, an editor, they come at you hard,
Yeah.
maybe even harder than they really feel, because they're
Yeah.
testing your character. You can
Yes.
have perfect sequentials, and there's always edits. Look,
Mhm.
this is the industry. You send it in, and they're still going to come back with edits. I need you to change this, or I want this, because you know what? You're doing somebody else's vision as an
Yeah,
artist. So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
so if you can't handle them coming back to you with edits because your ego is too fragile, they don't want to work with you no matter how freaking good you are. So they're
Yeah.
testing you from the start. They want to weed you out. They're culling the weak. They're culling the
Absolutely. Well,
weak.
it's that
Period.
mentality of like, if you can take compliments, how do you feel? Yeah, you feel all good. You feel great. Oh, look at me. Yada yada. This feels great. But if somebody gives you some kind of critique and then you get all bent out of shape, they will see that and be like, just move along. If you could take one, you should be able to take the other.
I've seen it. Listen, I've heard Neil Adams tell another person after a portfolio review, you got to weed out the weak.
Hmm.
He ripped this person apart, and you
Hmm.
saw that person wither in front of him.
Hmm.
And you know what? I don't know if I agree with Neil's methods, but again, Neil is a legend in the industry. That's not for me to say. What I
Yeah.
do know, though, is that person had two choices, and I think they made the wrong choice. They
Yeah.
walked away with the tail between their legs, and I bet you they dumped their work and they probably stopped, and that's a shame. And you could blame Neil for that if you like, but
Yeah.
I don't. That's
Yeah.
your fault.
Absolutely. If you gave up, you gave up. Can't blame the guy for it.
We're getting a mic problem again. Bees,
Oh,
double
hold on.
bees.
Hold on.
By the way,
Take it off.
Chris is right. While you're doing that, American Idol, they made fools of themselves because they were around yes men and family that told them they were great, and they never got better. I agree. Mike, thanks for coming on, buddy. How are you? You were late to the show because you were drawing Muppets with Steph Wilson. Well, if it was with Steph Wilson, I can only imagine what kind of Muppets those were. And Randy, you're right. But it's not just an artist. You have to have a thick skin in everything, because the
Yeah.
second you don't have a thick skin, you are not willing to learn that you aren't the best.
Yeah.
Listen, I've had plenty of people tell me what's wrong with my show. And I already knew what's wrong with my show. I am not technically savvy. It's sloppy. I'm like a garage band. I'm not a polished show.
Hmm.
To be honest with you, I'm all right with that. I like this. I like my show being just a sit down hangout. It's not polished. Because you know what? There's a lot of shows out there aesthetically 10 times better than mine and boring as hell. No
Yep.
offense. And I'm not going
Yeah.
to name what they are.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that those people aren't right. And it doesn't mean that I shouldn't clean up a little bit. I really got to get better at the tech. But I've been learning a lot on my own, like you. But I'm okay with people telling me, someone told me to fix my camera angle many times, and I did. Yes, I know you were one of them. But see, that's actually a perfect example. Think about this for a minute. I'm good at doing sequential portfolio reviews. Would you agree?
Yeah.
You're good at tech stuff on a level that I'm not. You did commercials and you did this. You came and you told me what was wrong with my show and things that I had to fix.
Yeah.
And I didn't get upset or, oh, my show. Okay. He knows better than me. I was willing to concede that. My ego was not involved. And things that you mentioned were right. And they were, I worked on them.
Yeah.
And it went the other way with you. You had some questions and things like that. And I gave you some of what I've learned over the years, and you took it and you appreciated it.
Yeah.
We have that, which
Yeah.
is very valuable.
Yeah.
Henry Martinez even said to me recently, he said, dude, you don't ever have to come sugarcoat me with something. Tell me
Mhm.
straight up what it is, and then, we'll go from there. That is just perfect.
Yeah.
Randy said it's not the camera angle. Phil just looks like that. Gorgeous? Yes, I agree.
Because it's so glow.
I got my Betty Boop going on. Boop, boopy doo.
Oh man.
So look, I mean, I knew it was going to be over a 2-hour show. I told my wife an hour because you had to go to bed. I had a feeling it'd be over 2 hours because talking to you.
Sorry, Steph.
Maudo said, "Sorry, Steph." If she's not passed out, my wife, she works hard. She's up and she's just an awesome mom, an awesome wife. She's hardworking. God bless her. But I honestly hit a jackpot with my wife and my family. I have more than I ever thought I would, and I'm grateful for it. And I always try to tell my wife, never mistake my drive for not being grateful and happy. I mean, with what I have.
Yeah.
My drive is because of what I have.
Yep. That's
I wouldn't
100%.
need this drive if I didn't have them.
Yeah.
I
Well,
wouldn't need this.
that's where to my point of like, if I would have done this when I was younger, I wouldn't have had the drive that I have now.
What's the
And it
best
felt so
motivation,
true.
right?
It
You look at
really,
that family and
yeah,
you just have to be the man they all deserve.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because you want to make sure whoever steps in their life feels like absolute crap because they now have to compete with us.
Well, here's the funny thing. I've
Goal.
seen people complain about the boyfriend or the husband that the daughter brings home or marries,
Yeah.
and I so badly bite my tongue. I was like, did you see how you raised them? Because
Yeah.
daughters pick a man just like you because you're the template for them. So if she
Uh-huh.
picked this kind of guy, you might want to look in the mirror because that's you.
I've said it before in front of many people, is that half of the time, like when I first knew that I was going to have a daughter, a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, you're going to have a daughter?" Yeah. Oh, I wanted a daughter from the get go.
So did
I
I. I
just
wanted a daughter
I
first.
wanted a daughter, and then when I knew my wife was pregnant again, I wanted another daughter. Why? Because I know what a little boy was. That was me. Enough of me. We're fine with me. We only need one of
And
me.
then you
That's all
had
we need.
Maisie.
And then we had Maisie, and Maisie is the spitting image of me, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But
Oh,
half of the time when I would have a conversation, be like, "Oh, girls are so difficult," or I hear this or I hear that, and I just go straight to the point. I don't cut any corners. I come out with, "Well, do you want to know why those girls were very difficult?" And they're like, "Why?" I said, "Because their parents were shit, and they didn't realize their parents were shit. So if you were having an issue with them, and the daughter was that way, you have to realize the parent was shit, and it cuts the conversation so quick that nobody has
I
nothing to
wonder
say
why.
because all of a sudden it's a." Oh, it's a reality check because you called me out on it. I'm like, yeah, if you're a shit
You
parent, you're
don't
gonna have
like being
shit
called out.
kids.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, look, let's be honest. It's a blank slate. I mean, granted, there's genetics
It,
involved, there's traits, but
yeah,
kids, there's nature versus nurture, and
yeah,
it's hard to determine how much is nature and nurture, right? You have to do
yeah,
studies, but you know that both exist.
yes,
And the thing is, with nurture, you can actually change a lot of the behaviors that you would say are nature.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
a blank slate. Kids don't know morality. They don't understand things unless you
yeah,
teach them, unless you show them. And in the first 6 years, their mind absorbs the most in that short of a time. There's no other 6 year period in a person's life where they absorb that much information. Think about it.
yes,
They absorb language, they
yes,
absorb sarcasm and humor,
yes,
social skills and graces, they absorb knowledge about the world, things like that. Music, musical skills or artistic talent.
hmm,
There's no 6 year period other than the first 6 years that you ever absorb that much, and that's how the brain is working, and that's just scientific truth.
yeah,
So these parents that wait until 8 to start disciplining their kids because they're acting like little crap heads, it's
hmm,
like you're too late.
yeah.
What were you thinking? Now you want to discipline them?
Now you want
Now
to be a parent.
Yeah,
Huh.
now they're
Look at that.
unruly. Well, where the hell were you? My wife thought I was a little hard on my kids when they
Yeah.
were younger. I mean, I never laid my hands on them, but
Yeah.
I told consequences.
Yeah.
You better remember that freaking word because everything you do, whether it's positive, negative, or indifferent,
Yeah.
will have a consequence. Even
Yeah.
indifference has a consequence.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, and by the grace of God, my kids are growing up all right. I mean, you lock them in a closet for an hour a day, and no, I'm kidding, kidding. Don't call Child Protective Services. I'm kidding. They've never been locked in a closet.
A
I
little
might
bowl of
have been.
rice.
Yeah, I might have been locked in a closet, but they've never been locked in a closet. My wife would probably
Oh,
be like, "What are you doing?
oh
You're gonna get
man.
sued."
CPS.
My wife is the smarter part of our relationship. That's for freaking sure. You know that. You like my wife. You get along with my wife. She likes you.
Business.
You sat there and you lectured me at my kitchen table over and over. I mean, you repeated yourself about 100 times,
Had
and my
to.
wife just kept shaking her head. Yes, she's over there in the kitchen, not even part of the conversation,
She's not
shaking
even
her head.
looking.
Yes, she wasn't even looking. She's like, "I like that guy." I'm like, "Of course you do. You guys agree with each other.
Oh my god. He ganged up on me. Like, what?
You guys ganged up on me." She's like, "Yeah, but
Uh,
that's okay."
it goes all the way.
That's funny. Well, look, you have to get up in like an hour, so
Oh, actually, I'm gonna just sleep right here.
yeah, really. I'll just lay back on my
Uh,
70s wallpaper and rest my eyes.
yes.
I'll wake up to Archie Bunker and Edith.
I love this wing back chair. It's what literally this is one of my favorite chairs in the house because it's my wife's. She had this when I think sorry, it's her grandmother's chair. It is for whatever reason I grew up with the like the B movies and the A movies of horror, and Vincent Price was like a huge thing to me growing up. And
Last Man
all the
on Earth.
movies that they had like these weird, interesting chairs, and it's a wing back. I wish it was a little bit taller, but it's just the way it looks. It's one of my favorite pieces in my studio because it's just
Cool.
there's something about it. It has history to it because I'm also I'm still a music guy even though I don't do music well other than the commercial, but I haven't done music in such a long time. But I have like Victrolas, from 1919.
Cool.
There's something about hearing music from a long time ago that you can't get on a disc. You have to put the
Right.
effort in and turn the crank that also I incorporate into my art because it sets a mood. I'm a huge fan of soundtracks. It sets a mood. I listen to all types of things because it sets moods, and I try new and different things. And it's same thing with the art. Like I'm still learning the craft, and I want to keep on learning, and I never want to stop learning the craft. I want to get better, and I want to be perfect. And the best part about it is there isn't any perfect.
Perfect is as
Yeah,
subjective as anything else.
absolutely.
It really is. There's no standard for perfect other than what you put on yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
me, I'm perfect. I'm good. I'm perfectly imperfect.
That's what makes it perfect.
Right. And my wife,
Yeah.
I'm sure she believes I'm perfect.
Your
You
cat thinks you're perfect.
hear that, right? Damn cat. He's the one who shut off my audio. I'll never forgive him.
uh, uh,
Look, it was great talking to you, man. Which we
absolutely,
talk
brother.
most days these days anyway. But it was
Yes.
good having
Yeah,
you on.
absolutely.
I was looking forward to having a really informal show and just
Yeah,
relax and hang out. And
absolutely.
it didn't disappoint. I'm a fan of your work. I'm a fan of your family. I'm a fan of you as a human being. I
Ditto.
appreciate you being on. If you
Mhm.
don't follow Maudo, please go follow him. Support him. Don't just follow. Don't be that voyeur, that creepy guy on a branch with binoculars in the tree outside of his house. Share, like, comment.
Back to the
You
future
know,
reference.
yeah. Share, like, comment.
Yes.
Buy the books if you have small children, or if you honestly just want to try practicing Copic coloring. Pick up the coloring books. Pick
Yeah.
up the children's book. The little black book of thumbnails is perfect. Like I said, for aspiring artists, really working. Look, you could
Yeah,
be a
I agree.
seasoned professional, and
Yeah.
it's a good book to have to do your thumbnails while you're sitting in a doctor's office or out at a park bench,
I agree.
or waiting for your wife to go shop, or your husband to go shop, or your husband's watching football or whatever.
Yeah.
You could go sit down and just do your thumbnails. And then
Yeah.
it's just going to be a useful tool for you. And again, over like 90 pages, you said. So I mean, for the price of the book, 90 pages, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they're all on Amazon.
Yes.
And as Andy said earlier, they're right on the top of the Google search, man, on the search.
Yeah.
Just go get them.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
then follows Maudo on his again his Instagram and Facebook, and you can see his work for sale at www.belegendaryillustrations.com. The website is up. Maudo is on there,
Yes.
and we're just going to be adding more stuff to
Yes,
the page.
I have a lot more work coming in as far as you'll be seeing a lot of I have 2 books that I'm working on right now. One I'm almost done, and then there's another kids book, and then there is, as you know, Phil, the other thing that's coming up. So it's just let's make it personable. Phil, look to your left. Look to your left, Phil. Look to your left. Now we're having a conversation. So so what I think is how we should be doing this.
Why do I feel like we're in the Brady Bunch squares? And then we got to look up and
look to the side. But yeah, no, I have a lot of things coming my way, and as horrible, honestly, as all this pandemic thing has been, it also has been a perspective in how I treat my work, my mentality, and what I want to be doing and how I want to do it. Because it's really lit a fire under my ass. Because I think after the
I thought you just
passing,
had Taco Bell.
or Taco Bell, but I think after the passing of the time that we've had within the last, feels like it's been a long year. Everything has been an eye opener to fear, to loss, to terrible loss, not only in life but in work. And I think it just gives a different perspective. As it really, at the end of the day, all this comes down to you, your own person. And if you don't do anything with it, nobody's going to come and give it to you. Nobody's going to do anything for you. It's unless you do it, nobody gives a crap. You have to take the first. Sometimes they say you got to take the first leap. You got to take like the first 200 leaps before something starts going. And I think I'm at like 190, and there's about 200 more. I just haven't told myself that yet. It's really, not to be a rainbow in puppies and rainbows type attitude, but everybody can do this. Everybody can do books. Everybody can create books. Everybody has a story to tell. It's just, you got to do it. And if you're like, oh, there's always enough time. You just have
and if
to
you
make
want to create a book, I have plenty of artists that can help you create it, like Maudo.
That's it. Plug. But it's true.
That's why you have me.
But it is true, because I would have thought that. But it is true. Everybody can write a book. Everybody can do a children's book. Everybody can do a coloring book. It's just everybody has this fear, and you're right. It's this fear of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, or I don't know how. Nobody told me how to do any of these books. I looked online like a madman to figure out how to do this. I hit a bunch of roadblocks that I figured out how to go around them, and it's just
How about
time.
this? I got a new philosophy for you. Why do you have to learn how to do it the way it's been done? Why don't you be a trendsetter? Do it your way, and watch people follow you. That's what I do. Yeah. I don't look at other shows. I don't look at other live streams and say I've got to be like them. I just got to be like me. And if it's not working, then I'll adjust. But if it's working, why do I have to worry about what the other guy's doing?
Yeah, enjoy what you do, and just do it when you can, the best way you can, and just don't push out. That's really, honestly, just don't push out. Push. You only have one life.
You got to push it. Oh, sorry.
That's right.
And Maudo, you have to end with, and knowing is half the battle.
And knowing half the battle is half the battle that you're knowing. And what's the other one? What's the Reading Rainbow one? The more you know.
And I'll add to that, this is your brain on drugs.
That's right.
Any questions?
Yes. And what's the other one? I learned it by watching you. We can go reference all night, brother.
Maudo, man. Stay backstage briefly while I say see ya. But thanks for
Absolutely.
coming on.
Thank
I
you for having me.
appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother.
I hope I let you talk.
Thank you for letting me talk for 20 minutes out of these 2 hours.
Maudo, have a good night, man. Everybody
Thank you,
follow
brother.
him, please. He's pathetic. He has no friends. He has no followers. There's no love.
Please, somebody like me.
All right, Maudo, I'll see you on the flip side. Hang on.
In a minute.
All right. Thanks everybody who showed up for our special, edition show. And I sincerely thank you all. Alfred Pennyworth and Mike James Bingston and Randy Funk and Steve Garcia and John Ottinger, of course, and everybody that shows up all the time to support us, and Heather and just everybody. Thank you so much for always supporting the arts, supporting the artists, being a part of this that we're trying to build together. I appreciate it. They appreciate it. And again, Maudo is really a good guy, and he's becoming a good friend. Damn it, he missed me by 6 minutes. But anyway, he's laughing backstage. Now, tomorrow night, I'm supposed to have Luke Ross on at 10 p.m. Luke is a great guy and a friend. He's a Brazilian artist. He's done Star Wars and Conan and quite a few other things. But for some reason, Luke has not gotten back to me, so I'm hoping he's still on for tomorrow night. That's why I haven't put up any promos. So keep an eye out, please, to see if Luke Ross will be my guest tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be a great show. He's an awesome dude and a phenomenal talent. And I also just want to, again, let everybody know, March 14th, Suffolk Comic and Art Expo, Billy Tucci, Larry Stroman, Keith Williams, Sean Chen, Mike Lilly, Ron Wilson, who is also now part of the Legendary family, and Henry Martinez, and Maudo Zapata, and Pete Vasquez, and Rodney Ramos, and Alex Rivera, and Tony Cordos, another family member here with us. So we got a lot of great talent that's going to be at the show, and some comic vendors as well. Please spread the word. Let everybody know about the Suffolk Comic and Art Expo, March 14th, here in Suffolk County. Let's support the shows, and let's do the comeback, man. Don't call it a comeback, but please support it. Help us. Don't make Maudo sit there bored for 8 hours. Please go to his table. Anyway, you all are awesome. I really appreciate you. And I just want to say what I always tell you: be legendary and have fun storming the castle.